Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It's the 14th week of competition for what is now a Hand of the Gods, Smite Tactics. My name is Illy. Alongside me is going to be Strixus tonight. This is a Freya mirror, and it's Kenneth taking on Federation.
This is going to be a really interesting matchup because Federation's playing a more aggro Freya deck. That's the kind of Freya we've seen more recently. However, Kenny likes to play a list. He likes to play Control Freya. He does not have the signature card Gift of Munin that we see in Federation's hand right now. He is playing a higher curve. He's got Fire Giants. He's got a couple of Baboons. This is going to be a very interesting matchup because normally this would be two close lists, but it's not this time.
Yeah, I mean, you say they're not close, but in general, they want to do the same thing. And Kenny's just got a little more outs as far as surviving into the late game, right?
Right. That especially with the baboons, baboon is such a powerful card when you're even or ahead on board because it forces your opponent to put so much into it that it kind of nets them a negative on board when they don't have a card that kills it outright.
So, Feed's turn here. He's going to elect to draw a card with that 1 mana draw a Norse card, reduces cost by 1. I would almost like him to play Gift, attack into the Freya, see what he draws, then use the draw card, and then whoop the Skadi. It's a little bit behind tempo, but I think that's the best use of his mana here.
That's generally always the best play, is to try to draw when you can. He's electing to hold on to it, though, probably waiting to get both of these Gungir's Mites out of hand. What he doesn't see, though, is that Kenny actually has a second Gungir's Might in hand, so it doesn't matter whether his Freya dies or not. And it doesn't matter whether he has second Gungir's Might or not.
And actually, that's an interesting choice. Kenny there had the opportunity to play Gift of Munin and then attack into Feed's Freya. He doesn't, and he gets by the second Gungnir's Might pop. That's a 5/5 Freya before he attacks in.
And that's just nasty. I wasn't sure if he was going to play the second Gungnir's. It kind of the Freya kind of dies very easily on board. We could see actually the double soul come out if Federation.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. Wait.
No. Yeah, he could. He could 2 mana soul, mana pot, and then 3 mana soul.
The 3 mana soul. Yeah, because he got the 2 mana soul off of the Valhalla's Blessing, which is bringing soul back down to where she was last patch. This is going to be a very interesting turn. He could also choose to play the Ymir, or even hold on to the Ymir and wait till he draws a charge. What do you think is the best play right here?
I think you have to kill Freya, but just playing 2 1/2s against a Skadi Calder combo just feels really bad. So I wouldn't hate getting the Ymir out either. It looks like he's going to go for the soul option, at least one soul. And I have to imagine the second one's going to follow up.
I think if you're playing the one soul, you have to play the second one. He already popped the mana potion. We are going to see this 5/2 Freya fall. This is going to be a big swing for Federation just because chunking out he's not damaging the Skadi, though. This is interesting.
I like that. I like that play a lot because this keeps his souls out of range of the Skadi, which means they get to auto again next turn. And with that, with the Doge on board, the Doge can trade into one of those souls, but the other one's still going to be up. And if he's able to draw into some buff cards, and he does have double Scion of Doom, double Ansus, then he could be able to get a better trade into the Skadi.
That's very true. I think this is such a weird turn because trading a Calder into a soul kind of feels good because soul is such a powerful card, but at the same time it's a 3/1 trading into this 1/2.
Right.
You only have so many buff cards in your deck that are relevant. He doesn't have any in hand. He'd have to top deck one of them to have it be relevant. And
to be fair, though, he does have 6 buff cards because he's got double Surtur as well.
Oh, okay, so that actually...
So 6 out of 17, that's not bad odds.
It's not terrible odds. It's about a 1 in 3 chance. I think in that case, maybe killing the soul is more relevant. He actually could play the Freya, banish one of the souls, and kill the other one, and just go face with the Skadi then.
Yeah.
Oh wait, he also No, he can't. I was thinking that Kenny has a soul in hand himself, but I don't know if that's necessarily the right play. Just because for some reason I was thinking it was webbed. I don't know why. Just like be able to kill both of the enemy
No,
souls,
you
but it's
wouldn't.
not.
I mean, that would be doing 3 damage, but you'd also still have two 1/1s on board.
Right.
I
Yeah.
like
No,
the
I thought.
development of Fenrir though,
Yeah. I mean, getting a nice four
because
five on
you're
the
not going to
board
get
is
another
nice.
chance to do this, right?
Probably not. Although he might end up just getting locked down by Freya. Now I think we saw Federation hovering the Freya, and it looks like it is going to come down. Fenrir is a good card, but against Freya in the mirror, you can just get locked down. Fenrir just kind of grows and sits there and does nothing the entire game. I think we're going to need to see an equal threat come out from Kenny to combat this. The Loki draw is actually very nice. The Fire Giant wouldn't be able to come out till next turn, but the Loki draw is actually very nice for a threat that definitely needs to be combated, and there's nothing on board for Federation to combat it at this time.
And you're talking about using the banish to deal with some threats, and that's exactly what Kenny's gonna do. He's gonna whoop the soul there. It's whooping a 1/2, but in this particular instance, it curves him out a little better.
I really like whooping the soul here. Like you said, there are 6 buff cards in the list for Federation. Having the ability to drop that soul to a 2 damage threat is definitely relevant. It's not going to be able to deal with anything on board immediately, but it can get him closer to late game. And it's also just taking out a threat on board. As long as Federation doesn't have a Gungnir's in hand, that's a net win for him on board because he doesn't have anything else to play right now. He has to spend a turn developing something. We do see the charge in his hand. We're actually not going to see the Ymir charge. I was thinking we might see the Ymir charge to
On the Fenrir?
stun lock the Fenrir. Yeah, but we actually are going to just see the banish. He might instead now wait to hold onto the Ymir charge until he can Ymir charge and banish, just so he can lock down 2 threats continuously. In which case, we might see the development of either a Fenrir himself or another Scotty and Calder.
I think it's going to be the Scotty Calder combo. And indeed, the Scotty's going to go into the back line, and he's going to throw the Calder up in the front line here. This is an interesting board state right now. Who do you think has an edge?
I kind of like where Kenny is. This Gift of Munin sat in Federation's hand for a long time. That's a kind of card that you want to play early, and it'll snowball you. And if you don't get it out early, it's kind of not necessarily the most of dead cards, but it definitely doesn't feel great. I almost would have liked to see him play it back when there were 2 3/3 Freyas, just for him to have the ability to get a little bit the extra card. You know, a 0 mana for an extra card is still a 0 mana cycler. It's still somewhat relevant, but right now we just don't have that same relevancy coming out of this card. It just feels like a dead card in hand. So I'm kind of liking where Kenny is right now.
So there's the Surtur played from Kenny. He's going to go ahead and trade his Freya into the Soul to remove that dangerous card off the board. Like you said, a bunch of buffers. And then he's also... Do you develop the Soul here? I don't feel like that's a good... Do you just whoop something?
You could develop the Soul. It allows you to kill the Calder here alongside the Scotty damage. But whooping the Scotty and hitting the Calder with the other with your own Scotty does basically the same thing. And now Federation's very much on the back foot, I feel, this game, just because the Fenrir is now a 9/9. This is a very relevant threat. He can one-shot the top tower even without the Surtur on him, and he can't do anything. The bottom tower is soon to follow as well.
So what does Federation need then in order to get back into this game?
Well, I mean, the Ymir charge is still in his hand. He needs to be able to lock down multiple threats on the side of Kenny, but unfortunately he has to wait a turn to be able to do that. He just because, you know, Ymir charge and Freya whoop is going to be 8 mana, and he already used his mana potion. He has the Ansus in hand to be able to do something. He could potentially Ansus the Scotty and trade in with that, which allows his Gift of Munin to be at least...
How do you feel
cycle.
about Gift of Munning to try to find a BDK? He's
That
only
would
got
be
one of them.
interesting. It would allow him to take care of 2 threats on the board, actually, the Scotty and the Surtur, and deal extra damage to the Fenrir. I actually think that it's risky. He's running 2 BDKs or just 1? He's just running 1, so that's very risky. He is going to
running
actually
one.
draw the second charge, which is not going to be very relevant. However, he has to whoop the Fenrir now because of the fact that the Fenrir
Yeah.
can one-shot this tower.
Like you said though, 0-mana cycler, right?
I mean,
So,
it's a great card.
Play it and find it.
It's a great card. Like there's not enough damage on board right now for Kenny to prevent Federation from getting another one, and that's what's very relevant about this card is if you can get multiple uses out of this card. One use is a win. It's a 0-mana cycler, and 0-mana cyclers in this game, and like in any game, are very powerful. But if you can get multiple cards out of this, it's just such a relevant and important card to have.
I'm thinking Saucy, and I want to see Fire Giant charge
That would be cute.
to kill this top stone.
I would actually love that. It would stop a summoning point, summoning point from Federation. It would prevent him from expanding on this map. We are going to instead see the Soul come out.
Probably the
and
smarter play.
yeah, I mean, it's riskier to drop the Fire Giant charge, but it's flashier for sure. And getting this damage out
I'm all
is
about
just
the flash.
absolutely getting this damage out though is just probably a little more relevant. Developing your board in a way that you feel a little bit better about what's going on probably feels relevant. Dropping the Loki here is still going to be pretty nice because now you have even more ways to damage the stones. You don't have to wait a turn to develop more threats. Now you have 2 more threats on the board instead of 1. And obviously Fire Giant's a good card, but with Crippling Cursed, I believe, in Federation's list as well, your Fire Giant has potential to just die. So
yeah,
I think
both
I
of them
like
do
the
have
idea.
double crippling.
Yeah, I like the idea of playing the Soul. It's a less powerful threat, but it's still very strong. It has a lot of
Look at the
potential damage on it.
size of that Fenrir
Yeah, it's
up top.
And
And I'm not even talking about stats.
Yeah,
I just mean like that thing is huge.
yeah, it's gonna start proving pretty nasty. I like this play of drawing another card. Now Gift of Munnin, it sat dead in hand for a little bit, but now Gift of Munnin is raking in the value.
He's drawn 3 cards.
Yeah.
Right? 2 cards?
No, 2 cards now.
2 cards.
He drew the charge and he drew that second sitter in hand. I like the idea of Ymir charge on the Fenrir and either Ansus or he actually is gonna Ansus now actually. Maybe Ansus killing the Soul right here. Hold on to this
And he
Fenrir for a
develops
little bit
Fenrir too.
longer. Yeah.
I actually like that play because you need to deal with Fenrir every single turn, and you don't really. And a Ymir charge onto the Fenrir means nothing because then it's still got 10 attack. It's frozen, sure, but you want that Ymir charge to kill something or to deal with another threat. So just whooping this allows you to develop your own and then cast the Omen in order to remove the Soul.
Well, it allows you. Ymir charge allows you to do this either way. I actually love this Purge Omen coming out on the Fenrir. It deals with this threat very efficiently. It actually kind of interesting that we didn't actually see that come out on the 10-11 Fenrir on the side of Kenny. Or sorry.
I think his mindset is, I'm not killing this Fenrir until I find a Crippling Curse. So I'm just going to leave it here.
That makes sense, but you're effectively killing it with Ymir charge because you have the banish anyways. I'm
right. You have the banish anyway, so you don't have to remove it, right? You don't have to make it negligible because you can do with just 2 mana, and then you still have the flexibility of the Ansus in hand.
I think that's fair. I just think developing this Ymir is going to be very relevant. I think the quicker he gets it on board, the better he's going to fare in this game, just because you need threats. Right now, his only threat is hovering in the air next to a much smaller version of itself. And I don't know. I just think he needs something more on board to be able to win this game. Look at the positioning from Kenny right now. He's got a Loki on the board behind this stone, and his Freya is next to his stones. Federation needs to have something on board to be able to combat this.
Okay, that's certainly fair enough. So then, do you?
Although I think actually Ymir charging this turn would be
double Surtur?
rough. Ymir charging this turn would be rough just because the Loki can kill it. But I
Yeah.
think next turn it might be a relevant play.
So do you double? He's actually gonna hold Asserter, which is interesting to me.
Yeah, it's
Why
definitely.
why do you think he wants to hold that Asserter?
I'm not positive. I think he might be waiting to hold it up to place it a little bit further once he assumedly stabilizes. I think he's just hoping to stabilize right now. But we'll see where this goes
Hey!
over time. And here's that Fire
FG
Giant.
charge!
And Fire Giant charge is going to actually end up coming out. There
My
is
life is
one health
complete.
left right here. And obviously the Loki is not... Or, sorry, the Fenrir charge wasn't going to do anything about this play just because Loki has invisibility. Stealth until the start of his next turn. But yeah, there's no way that Federation can get out of this
What
game
if
now.
Loki actually spawned literally invisible?
That would suck. It would be so much fun, but that would
You just hear,
absolutely suck. Yeah, you just see
and then there's
5
no
mana
Loki
go away
walking
from the
around, you don't know where
bar.
he is.
5 mana go away from the bar, and you're just like, well, crap. Now where's this Loki? And all of a sudden you just die to it right out. You had no idea how to position yourself. No, I think I like where it is in stealth because you can still play around where Loki is right now. You can use your units to position to prevent it from teleporting that 3 units to its target. So I think where he is right now is fine. He's definitely an annoying card, but he's not
Okay, so
broken.
can he live this turn?
Okay, I'm looking.
Can he stabilize?
So you have to spend 2 mana to get rid of this. Get rid of either the Fire Giant or the Fenrir. He's going to crippling
You can
curse.
body block the Fenrir.
Yeah. Well, you can
You
body
don't have
block
to
the
kill
Fenrir.
the Fenrir.
That's fair. Okay,
Yeah.
so crippling curse comes out onto the Fire Giant. It is going to kill. You have to kill this Freya too, though. Like the Freya is doing an extra damage. We are going to see the Ymir charge finally come out. Freya's going to get frozen. We might actually see the
Yep.
loop onto the Fenrir. Yeah, so we are going to see the Fenrir body block. This is a lot of mana expended just to prevent this game from going any further. The crippling curse draw is so nice right here from Kenny, just because the Fenrir is getting big on the other side. He doesn't have to banish it anymore. He could just crippling curse and chunk it in for one. The Fenrir is only going to be able to one shot one tower at a time, and this game's not going to last long enough for the Fenrir to be able Federation's Fenrir to take down both towers.
You say that, but what is Kenny's line here? Does he just play Scotty and Calder and Baboon and just flood the board?
I do not dislike that play. You can also just have your Fenrir trade into the. You can have it trade into the Freya to force Federation to pay extra mana to get a threat off the board, but he is actually going to trade into the opposing Fenrir. I like both plays.
I like that.
Just getting
I like
the
him
big
trading
threat off the board.
Fenrir because Federation's only win condition at this point is that Fenrir goes absolutely ham. I think.
Right. He would have to
So-
basically like. Is he even running a Fatalis? He's not running a Fatalis. He's not running a sprint. He wouldn't be able to get both stones down in one turn. I don't think
Right,
he's
but
even
Kenny
running
doesn't know
Valhalla
that.
sorcery. That's fair. I think it's a safe play. There's very little. What does this Gungir's Might do? Gungir's Might lets him trade into the Scotty. He falls to 1, and he's still got the Gungir's. Gungir's is now drawn, 4 or 5 cards now? Gungir's is definitely... Or sorry, Munin. Gift of Munin is putting in work right now.
So can he stabilize again? This is going to be the question every single turn until this game ends. Can he
So,
stabilize?
He's got the second charge in hand. He can Loki charge.
What about Calder charge? What about playing Scotty?
Calder charge could be interesting. He needs to deal with this Loki, though.
He needs to deal with Freya, Calder, and Loki.
Right. So the the answers in hand is probably going to have to get a damage omen, I believe, this turn. If the Ymir stays where it is, the Fenrir can't kill the stone this turn, so he would have to probably Loki charge. I don't think there's
too much mana.
Is there any way to
Is
there any way to get out of this? I just don't know.
I don't think so.
I think this has to
I
be a
think he can
damage
deal
omen.
with Freya and he can deal with Scotty or Calder rather. Oh yeah, he can do that. He can body block it. He can body block the Loki.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
And we are going
so
to
he's
see
not
the
dead yet.
charge come out on the Calder. Yeah, Fenrir has to now either kill the Fenrir or the Calder. to advance. Loki, no, because you can just whoop the Scotty and kill. So that's game 1 now going to Kenny. I mean, a control list he is, but that was very aggressive for him for sure.
Is it really a control list, or is he just memeing all of us?
Well, it's control enough in the sense that what he plays almost always affects the board for value, but Freya is almost always going to be aggressive list with just what the cards available to Norse overall.
Well, regardless, that's game 1 in the books there. Kenny is going to defeat Federation with his trademarked control lists. In fact, he's got all 3 lists that say control on them. So I cannot wait to see what the next game has in store for us. We'll be back with you in just a couple minutes. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We're in game number 2 of Kenny taking on Federation. The control main has pulled out the Bologna, and Federation is sitting on top of some Zeus play. What can we expect from this match?
So Zeus is generally a bit more of a tempo/control deck, usually. However, we see Kenny is the control master. He likes to play control a lot. And we
an
can't,
understatement, friend.
Yeah, I think I've only ever heard him utter the phrase aggro once, and he
Without a
didn't
cuss word following?
Yeah, and he didn't bring it to this tournament. So, yeah, I think that it looks like, however, we're going to see a very aggressive start from Zeus. The Scion of Doom is a very aggressive play overall, just because.
Well, it answers out the turret, right?
Yeah, it gives him the ability to enter the turret. He also still has 1 health left on it. The Protect was nice to just have an extra threat. That Ascensus is going to be very nice, though. Ascensus just overall a very powerful card, very resilient threat while it's on the board.
And I love the way he played this. I love the way Kenny played this, because he plays the Ascensus up top, where it's not going to hit anything, but he's planning on, what's my next move next turn? My next move next turn is to move Bologna 1 space, and then move Ascensus to where Bologna is, so he can smack anything that Zeus plays around his lead.
And that's just a valuable... That just shows the value of the card. The cleave on that card just allows it to be very relevant. However, we are going to see it fall to this Fire Giant. I think Fire Imp. The mini Fire Giant, as we say.
Yeah, Gremlin.
Yeah, so there's a 2 of Fire Imp in Federation's list, which is a very interesting card. It recently got a buff back when movement was renormalized again, and it's just a nice early game removal. Judgment we see in hand.
Do you Rain of Arrows this board?
I wouldn't like to. Actually, Kenny just missed a play. He didn't have enough mana to. Or I guess he didn't want to.
I don't think he was going to play anything.
You could have potentially. Yeah, I mean, Enlist feels terrible here.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess he could have. No, yeah, I don't think he really had much of a play there, and I think passing the turn with a little air whip for emphasis is certainly a viable option.
It's not bad. Like you said, Rain of Arrows was a potential play. Rain of Arrows does kill the Zeus and prevent this aggression coming out.
Right, but it only does 3 damage.
Yeah, I mean,
It feels so bad.
You'd rather your Rain of Arrows get a lot more value, but at the same time, now Zeus is positioned on your side of the board with a lot of potentially resilient
Hades.
threats. The Hades is likely to come
Yeah.
out here, and now Bellona can't kill Zeus or the Scion of Doom this turn without.
I mean, she can always just Rain of Arrows the next turn.
But now this Hades is a more resilient threat. The Hades is going to be able to trade in and kill this Bellona, and you're going to be behind on board because you don't have this Bellona ability to be able to control the board.
That's an enlist though. That's a pretty decent top deck. So I think he's going to coin out the baboon this turn, and then next turn with 6 mana, he can look to either double Rain of Arrows, whatever else Zeus plays, because it is a 6 mana turn. So you're kind of thinking there might be an Athena coming down, or actually looking into Federation's hand, I see a Chao Fang, and looking at his list, I only see 1 Chao Fang. Why do you run this particular card in a Zeus deck?
In a Zeus deck, it's just to give you a little bit extra tempo. I'm interested at this choice of the 1 of Chao Fang over the 1 of Thanatos. Thanatos, a very high potential card, but you also need to lower. You need to lower the defenses of these high defense units for it to be very relevant. I really like this play though. This is one of the 2 lines that I would have really liked to see come out of Federation right here. What he did was he played the Aphrodite and then he used the Judgment onto the baboon. Now this baboon is which was a very resilient threat, is actually just took 4 damage from a 2 mana spell because this Aphro dropped onto the board. And Kenny's even more so on the back foot now because Rain of Arrows is not still going to kill this Hades. He has to enlist it, and wow, that was an awful spawn for that Venator.
Ooh. Yeah. Yeah, that's literally the worst spawn point on the entire board for that Venator.
Most likely. I mean, anywhere it spawns that's not by Bellona, that's not one of the 3 squares next to Bellona, means that Athena gets to come down and you get to have extra damage you get to kill the Venator and deal
I don't think
damage
you
to
need
the Soak.
Bellona, right?
He actually is not going to use Bellona, he's going to drop the Enyo flag right here. I mean, I would have liked to see the Athena. You just get a very resilient, powerful threat onto the board. The Enyo
You do
flag.
the same thing with Enyo.
That's very true.
And when you play Enyo, you have another spawn point now.
That's actually relevant now that the Zeus is at 1 health. So I think this
Right.
might actually have been a better play. It allows Federation to continue with this aggressive path that he's been taking these last couple of turns.
It's slightly less aggressive than the Athena, but I feel like it's a slightly safer line.
It is, and you can definitely get your Athena, well, there's nothing in Kenny's hand to kill it immediately. You could potentially see Mercenary outmaneuvered would be able to do it, but that just is a lot of cards to kill an Athena. You're trading your legendary and an outmaneuvered, but he doesn't have it anyways, so it's not really relevant.
For the people at home here, does Rain of Arrows kill an Enyo flat?
I want to say no. I want to say it doesn't.
I don't believe
deal
it
damage.
does.
I want to say it doesn't deal damage. I'm not 100% positive, but I don't think so. This Ares is such a nice play. I believe this is a 1 of Ares coming out right here for Federation, and it just neuters this Terra.
It really
hard.
does. And he can already kill it, right? And take no return damage from it?
You can't kill it this turn because the Enyo got stunned from it.
Oh, right, yeah.
The second Terra might actually be pretty nice, though. You get to stun now the Enyo again, and this time the Aphrodite as well. That's now a lot of damage taken off the board, and we are going to see the Demoralize actually come out as well. The other Freya is going to fall, or sorry, the other Terra is going to fall, but Ares is going to have to take a lot of damage to invest into that Terra.
And if Kenny manages to poke out the Zeus player here, he can all of a sudden pop that rain of arrows and full wipe the board.
Absolutely. You'd have to trade into the Ares a little bit more to be able to do so, but with the 6-2 right next to it, I think that's a pretty likely play that one of them trades into the other, unless we see Federation go face. Actually, nope. Here's the Athena drop. And like you were saying, holding the Athena ended up proving very relevant for Federation here.
Yeah, Federation's going to be able to push 5 damage to the stone, remove the 6-2 without taking damage, and now there's a 6-6 on the bottom side of the map, but look at the card that is in Federation's hand. It's a Nemesis, so that's actually just a 6-3, which isn't that bad.
And Nemesis is just such an extremely powerful card. You get to strip health from an enemy unit, add it to your own health bar, and it's a 2-2 on top of that. With this added health, it's a very potent 2-mana card. You're not going to see it come out very often in the early game, but when the late game threats start coming out, it's a very efficient answer to these late game threats.
It's Rain and Arrows. That looks like Kenny's line here. Do you play both Rain of Arrows?
Both Rain of Arrows allows you to take the Athena to 1 health, kill the Enyo, and... No, not kill... Well... No, because Rain of Arrows does 2 each, so it wouldn't allow you to... Yeah. It dropped the Athena to 3, but it looks like we are going to see the Terra maybe trade into this Enyo, just to clear it off the board. I feel like you have to. Yeah, I mean, Enyo's while Enyo herself is not an extremely potent threat, it's still 5 damage you're removing from the board in an aggro... from a more aggressive matchup, and I think that's pretty relevant. If you do use both your...
Is there a line with enlist here?
You could potentially enlist Rain of Arrows, the Enyo, but I don't think that feels very great right here.
Turns out Rain of Arrows does in fact hit Enyo flag.
That's actually extremely relevant. I wasn't positive about that before, but now there's only a 4-1 and a 3-3 on the other side of the field. That's still a lot of damage, and actually, this Thanatos is so nice. It's a 1 of Thanatos in this list, because you get to run Athena into the top stone and then Thanatos execute it, and then you only have to deal 5 more damage in the entire game to win, and you have 9 damage on board. It looks like we are going to see...
Or you hold it.
Well, he might just invest all this damage into the bottom stone instead and Thanatos that, just because it's more of a hassle to deal with.
Do you ever Divine Intervention looking for Athena?
You could. Divine Intervention looking for Athena is... It's potentially nice. I think he's got so many tools in hand, though, that he doesn't really need it, right?
Well, I'm thinking, like, you want the Athena over the Thanatos, and you still have 4 mana if you don't find it anyway. But he's actually going to play the Zeus and then Divine Intervention, so he wasn't looking for the Athena, but he still got the Thanatos option.
The Thanatos option, I mean, it feels good. It might not be the right play overall. This Hades is actually very nice because you get to... But Bellona can't deal damage, and this Bellona was the only thing going face for a little bit. Yeah. And it only got 3 chip damage in, and that's just not very relevant right here.
Yeah. And then in Kenny's hand, he's got Enlist, and he's got 2 Outmaneuvered. And Outmaneuvered's a great card, don't get me wrong. But the problem is you have to have something on board to outmaneuver.
And yeah, this has been just such a good tempo game from Federation that Kenny hasn't been able to keep a relevant threat on the board for more than a turn.
He's only played 1.
The Ascensus, yeah.
Yeah. And the Venator.
So yeah, the Venator from the first Enlist, which was not a relevant threat because of the fact that it just spawned right in between all of Federation's units. Actually, now that he wins this turn because he gets to Hades hit the other summoning stone, and Thanatos just gets to execute the last one. Game 2 goes to Federation. This Zeus is very notably a mid-range control tempo style deck, but the aggressive lines taken by Federation allowed him to net this win without much hassle.
Well, I never thought in a card game I would hear the words mid-range tempo control, but I just did, and it describes Federation's Zeus actually surprisingly well. But we're going to be going into the last game here, which will be it's going to be Guan Yu taking on Freya. Kenny's showing us another control deck out of the Guan Yu. Maybe this one will have a bit more luck rather than the Bologna. Cirxus and Ilian will be back in just a minute. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It's Game 3. My name is Ilian. Alongside me is going to be my good friend Strixus, and we're looking at Freya versus Guan Yu here. What are we watching for in this matchup?
Guan Yu is another one of these tempo deck styles that he gets value by generating Crescent Blades. He spends 2 mana, gets a spell that he can use later on in the game to deal 1 damage to anything, and you can stock up on these and kill a high level threat. You can drop them down to kill like a medium health threat, and meanwhile Freya just wants to go base. We saw Federation's list in game 1, and it's a very aggressive list overall. He didn't get to do quite what he wanted to in game 1, but it's supposed to want to win before Guan Yu can get a lot of his threats on board.
And interesting choice there. Kenny chooses not to trade another auto into the Freya. Obviously, it's a bad trade for him, but how relevant is it to kill the Freya's, the Norse player's leader?
It's pretty relevant. Now it's actually just going to be more relevant. This Gift of Munin just dropped, and
yeah,
Federation potentially just has so much value that he can get out of this. Despite the number of cards in Kenny's hand, Federation he has the potential to draw as many cards with this Gift of Munin card. This Surtur is going to get bounced back to hand with this Habwa, a very nice draw. And Freya's just not going to have quite as much damage, but I mean, even if you're, like we said in game 1, even if you're drawing 2 cards with this card, it's still going to be very potent and very relevant.
And Kenny's going to trade the auto this turn. It's a much better trade for him since he recalled the Surtur. But it is going to knock that Freya down to 3 HP, which means he can probably remove it next turn. Leader auto plus a ranged auto.
This is an interesting hand coming out from Federation. We've got the double Ansus. We have the Bull Demon that can be charged next turn, which could be extremely devastating.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's going to probably hold on to both of those for next turn. I'll be interested to see what his lines are. He's got 2 3-mana cards and 2 2-mana cards, as well as the 2-mana Banish in his hand. So this will be very interesting. He actually also is getting to draw another card. The second charge allows him to charge his Ymir, probably a turn after he charges the Bull Demon King potentially as well. And that's just really nice. This was a webbed soul, actually. I didn't realize he popped a web, but that kills 2 of the strongest threats. Not 2 of the strongest threats, but it kills the leader and a very strong threat in the... It kills a very strong threat in the Imperial Archer. Imperial Archer able to...
Incoming BDK charge, right? Every time?
Would you BDK charge or potentially Ymir charge? Because...
I BDK charge because then I poke 4 into the stone, deal with the 2-1, and then I can trade my Freya into the 5-1.
And you get to draw an extra card as well.
Yep.
This is just value coming out of this Gift of Munin, and we see the potential of this card very clearly right here. Gift of Munin wants you to... it allows you to do what you already wanted to do, which is to trade damage. It just gives you a reason to do it even more than you already wanted to.
Alright, so the Guan Yu player is down a little bit in HP, but he's only lost 4 HP. This is the 6 mana turn. That's not that much damage for an aggro Freya list.
It's not. Freya had to deal with a lot of stuff on board for a couple of turns, so he was set a little bit behind. But overall, he's still getting to do what he wants. He's got a full health Bull Demon King on his side of the board, and that's very relevant for him. He's going to be able to play more aggressively now as well. Guan Yu has to potentially spend mana to play himself back on board, which is a tempo loss. It's a little bit less of a tempo loss than we saw a couple patches ago, but it's definitely very relevant that you lose 3 mana on one of the next couple of turns if you want to keep generating value with these Crescent Blades.
So here's an interesting question. What do you even spawn here? Because the BDK gets to hit whatever you spawn for free.
The Clay Soldier would be relevant because now it has 3 movement with the movement normalization, and it forces BDK to choose to kill himself or not. He has to position properly, or else the BDK just ends up dying to the Clay Soldier as well. I think the Clay Soldier might be the right pick here.
Yeah, if you spawn the Clay Soldier 2 above the bottom Summoning Stone, then BDK cannot get to a Summoning Stone without slapping the Clay Soldier. But he's actually going to choose to generate the Crescent Blade instead, so he's going to take 40 damage to face, 8 damage overall.
And now Freya is going to be able to come down for free because there was no real threat played last turn, and he's going to be able to spawn a Fenrir as well. This is Kenny definitely on the back foot here. He's got so many cards in hand, but you can only do so much with what you have in hand. You need to start allowing it to generate value, and there's not a lot of value with... I mean, I think he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... I think he's got 9 or 10 cards in hand. He has to play some of them, or he's just going to lose, not next turn, but probably the turn afterwards.
So what do you play? I still like the Clay Soldier.
I like the Clay Soldier. You now have enough Crescent Blades in hand to kill the Bull Demon King. It looks like that is going to be the play overall. You actually get to hold on to a Crescent Blade now because you waited a turn, and Guan gets to auto into it as well, which is very relevant. He doesn't have a Transfusion in hand, which is not... he would rather have one because he can't Chang'e Transfusion this turn, but that's a potential nice relevant threat for when this Fenrir starts to snowball a little bit more out of hand. The projection is not doing anything in Kenny's hand, though. It's definitely losing him cards right here. Actually, no, never mind. There is a Transfusion in between the 2 projections, but he's 1 mana down from being able to Chang'e Transfusion this turn. And the Buff Omen is actually going to be able to... If the Buff Omen comes down on this Fenrir, he's going to be able to deal with his Chang'e without Transfusion ever happening. Or the Crippling Curse that's newly drawn. The Crippling Curse that's newly drawn. He's in range. Out of range of the Oh, he is? Okay. So that's actually much more relevant. This Valhalla's Blessing is going to hit this Gungnir's Might. Another potential, a little bit more extra damage potential.
Actually, you could kill Guan, though.
Would you like to see the Buff Omen come out anyways? Never mind, there's a Surtur. Yeah, no, the Guan's dead. You have to spend now 4 mana to replay him if you want. It's probably not with what Kenny has in hand. It probably... It doesn't feel worth it to play. it almost feels like you have to play the Sun Wukong, but that just feels terrible.
Yeah. Well, he could wait a turn and then Sun Wukong projection,
You could
and then play Baboon.
you could Baboon Transfusion here. Actually, that's a
Yeah,
7/7
that's
threat
what I'm
on
thinking.
board. However, you're investing 8 mana into cards that are just going to die next turn, as we do see the Crippling Curse in hand for Federation.
But I think that would. I still think that's the best line for him because I mean 8 mana 7/7. It's 2 times the meme, but it's still pretty decent value. And let's face it, you've got to get the Crippling Curse out of the hand
Yeah, you have
of
to.
Federation.
You have
And if he
to-
doesn't have it, it's an amazing play.
It's a show me you have this kind of play,
Yeah, exactly.
and you have to. You're still also trading 2 cards for 2 cards, even though your 2 cards are worth more, and they're going to generate value overall. By he's also going to be able to play Ymir Charge even after killing the 7/7 if this is what's going to end up happening. Kenny's still on the back foot here. He's only going to have
You have
so
any other
many
lines,
cards.
though?
What was that?
Because Sun Wukong doesn't kill anything. So I don't feel like you play Sun Wukong.
No, you have to
Because
play
you want a
Baboon.
projection Sun Wukong.
You have to play the Baboon here. The Baboon's still going to trade for 2 cards, likely the Crippling Curse and the Ansusis damage buff. But I mean, he's stalling, I guess.
Wait, is he dead this turn?
Can he be?
1, 2, 3. So Freya can slap the bottom stone. You Crippling Curse damage Omen the Baboon, which then means you push 6 damage into the top stone.
You can also just damage Omen the bottom stone. Not have Freya
Oh yeah,
try
which
to
means
do anything.
he wins, right?
Yep.
Because he can just Freya auto win?
Yeah. An extra buff Omen coming out from the Fenrir if he wants. Or, yeah, the buff Omen would do it. An extra Gungyas
Yeah.
would do it. Yeah, this is just game. Good game for Federation. Federation now takes us 2-1 over our control specialist, Kenny.
And Kenny's shown us that control all you like, you still have to play against a Freya list every so often, and that's not always the greatest matchup into control. But Kenny will be back. He'll be back in the losers bracket, so we might see him later on in the tournament. But for now, that's your first set of the day out of the way. We'll be going into Namasil taking on Burpee in the next game, and it'll be Strixus and Sunbreed bringing you that one. This is Illy. We'll see you in a few minutes. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It's week 14, and we're in the fourth round here. Excuse me. It's going to be Derpy taking on Namasil, and this is an Odin mirror. My name is Illy, and alongside me is going to be Strixus. Take me away, Strixus. What are we looking at these lists?
We're looking at Odin, an Odin mirror actually, which is the epitome of math hard Migo face, as you like to say.
Yes.
Odin just goes as aggro as he possibly can, and
Beat our enemies.
I mean he just doesn't care. He just there are so many times where I've played against Odins or played as Odin and just straight up ignored the board and won the game. Like you just can do that with Odin.
And that was an interesting card there. We saw a nice little blue flare shoot up from the from Namasil's Odin, who's on the right. That is Gift of Munin. And tell me about that card and what it does.
So Gift of Munin is a new card released in the most recent patch. Very balanced and fun card to play against. It is a 0 mana card that gives your leader the ability that says when you attack with your leader, you draw a card. So it's what Odin wants to be doing. He wants to attack as Odin, and the more he gets to attack, the more cards he draws. And we see a card very often paired with that in the most recent patch. That card is Gungnir's Might. Gungnir's gives +2/+0 to your leader, so you get to deal ridiculous amounts of damage with your leader while also drawing one card every turn.
But oh my gosh, look at Namasil. He is he actually running backstabs and mayhems?
Yeah, those are cards that we haven't seen
Since like
frequent
closed
use.
alpha.
Yeah, basically those cards mostly died when leader health was increased to 23 and 25 back in like CB15 or whatever that was. Those cards are very well, Mayhem is very random.
And Mayhem's hit stones is literally random.
Mayhem-
That's what it is.
Yeah, Mayhem is a very it's a very weird card because it's a lot of damage potential for 1 mana, and wow, that just shot straight into the summoning stone right there.
Awesome.
Amazing, he says.
Yeah.
That is
that's
not
why
amazing,
you don't
by the
see.
way.
That's why you don't see Mayhem, because Mayhem doesn't do what you want it to do a lot of the time. That's why you don't see it a lot. Backstab a little bit higher value, I think, because you get to do 3 damage to the target you want to do, but it's not always that you want to do damage to that target. That's why I don't think we see that run either. Obviously, in the Norse mirror, it's a little bit better because you get to take their Gift of Munin out of play, but it's still really not. It's not great.
Interesting choice. And I say choice because Derpy had Gift of Munin in hand. And he had respawned his Odin, so it was not affected by Gift of Munin. He chose to auto into Namasil's Odin and not play Gift of Munin. Can you talk me through maybe why he chose that decision?
So I think one of the big reasons he chose that is he sees the Skadi on the other side of the board, and the Odin that he autoed into was a 3/1. So I think he's trying to find a place where he can get the most value out of this Gift of Munin. If he autos into the enemy Odin and then takes 3 from the Skadi like he just did, there's only potential for 2 cards here. If he's able to get some of these more problem cards off of the board first, then he's going to be able to draw more cards with that. And I think that might be more what he's looking for.
He's expecting his
he's
Odin to
gotta-
die.
Yes, and then he'll be able to loop
Beat
play
our
it.
enemies,
And
or we
I think that's where
return
he
to
wants to play his Gift of
Valhalla,
Munin,
a glorious
because of the
day
fact that
regardless.
he's now going to he'll have more cards with that life of his Odin than he would with this one.
This is a scary board here for Derpy because he's got 2 Scotties and a Calder. So Namasil has to kill both of these Scotties in order to remove the +1/+1 buff from this Calder. And hey, I recognize that card.
Yeah, we got another Gift of Munin on board.
Warriors?
The
Warriors?
Gungnir's is not gonna.
Wait.
Gungnir's is not gonna come out. Yeah,
Warrior
Warrior
Sigil?
Sigil. So, if you're running Mayhems, you're running Warrior Sigil. It's not quite the same, vice versa. But
Okay.
if you're running Mayhem, you have to run Warrior Sigil because you need to have like Warrior Sigil is a it allows you to get a little bit extra damage potential onto the board, and I mean right here it's not great because the Scottish can just kill.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Oh, the siege
but-
draw.
the siege draw is actually fantastic here. He's not going to be able to push that much damage. I think it's only
Not
going to
this
be
turn.
about 7 total.
Does,
But
I don't think he pushes
like,
this turn.
next turn-
Yeah.
No, I think. But well, siege also remember siege is a permanent buff,
Yeah, it is.
so you get to
You play
hold on
Loki
to that
first.
as long as your units stay alive. Yeah, absolutely. As long as your units stay alive, you just get to wreck face, dude. I love siege. Siege is one of my favorite cards.
This
in
is
the
our
game.
high quality analysis here at Hand of the Gods Smite Tactics. You just get to wreck people. A siege.
Not just we were talking about earlier. You get to deface the face right here. with
Deface
this,
the face. I love it.
with this card. Siege is just such interesting design because it's like Frenzy, but it also allows you to play Frenzy as though you were ignoring everything on the board, which you kind of
Which you
sometimes
always
do
do.
with Frenzy anyway. Yeah, you always do that with Frenzy at least a little bit
At least you
anyway.
can.
But it's fun, you know.
It's so fun. It means his Calder gets to kill the stone next turn. Do
Well,
you
Calder
actually
might
just
get to-
ignore face?
I would be interested to see potentially. Actually, there's a Loki charge in play.
Oh,
Do you
wait.
see this? Like Loki
Yeah.
charge
Does he win?
with you don't get to play siege into Loki charge this turn, but this card draw is actually crazy. Could you? No, you don't.
No,
No,
you couldn't
okay.
have won that
I
turn.
was-
Yeah.
No, I was just like I was
Napkin
thinking
math.
Surtur charge, but you really hold on. You really want to hold on to that
Yeah.
charge for the Loki.
Yeah, let's
Like-
keep it for the Loki.
Time for some
As much as I love
Okay, he's actually going to
Surtur-
use the Loki.
Oh, he is
He's
gonna
use the Loki
Okay.
into this turn and into the Odin, so that Odin's not able to push damage, and more importantly, Odin's not able to be a spawn point.
Yeah. Okay, so now his Calder is going to push 3 to stone. So that stone's at 3 HP, which means it dies to Puppy Dog next turn. Or you can Surtur and kill it with the Scotty. Your Loki is going to die, but that's fine because because both of those cards are melee range. Your Loki kills them both. You could also damage Omen, the Loki, if you're Namasil.
You could also
Is that viable?
It potentially is. You can also
Leader buff.
you can also have your one of your cards kill the Scotty, either one of them on the board. Kill the Scotty and then damage Omen the Calder to remove the immediate threat. And you also body block the Loki. It's already teleported. It's now going to move like a normal unit, and you will have
Yeah.
another turn to deal with it if you so
But
choose.
Namasil's actually going to take the thing that. Okay, so yeah, he's going to leader buff the. Oh, that is a ranged unit. Sorry, that's a Cursed Hunter. He's
Yeah,
going to leader
that's a
buff
Cursed
the
Hunter.
Cursed Hunter, using the Surtur buff to kill the Loki, and then using the Surtur to kill the Scotty. Did I say
He was
Surtur
actually
twice?
able. Maybe he had the
I don't
damage
know.
Omen to
Who
kill the
cares?
Calder. Either way, he was able to. Namasil was able to clear the board, the entire board, effectively. But Derp is still drawing more cards. That Gift of Moon is now dead
Hey,
in
another
hand
Gift of
because
Moon.
he's already got one on him. He's already got one on him.
Yeah.
But it's still a viable card. Actually, Namasil has not a great hand right now.
That's an understatement.
These hunters are going to have to survive. If these hunters don't survive, then he's not going to be able to do anything.
You-
This is
What other units does he even have in his deck? Souls? Scotties?
he's got souls. I don't think he's drawn either of his Scotties yet, has he?
No, I don't think so either.
This soul,
Oh,
soul, yeah, this soul. So,
Soul with
Soul-
Scotty buff or Surtur buff. Oh
soul,
my god.
Soul with just using Odin buffer. So soul is this
both?
interesting card. Yeah, you can have
Yeah,
both.
interesting
Soul-
card.
Interesting card. Soul has charge and the ability to cleave into your opponent.
Oh! That
and you just
physically
get
hurt
to-
me.
Yeah, it was a lot of damage right there.
Oh my
Killing
goodness.
the Surtur means that Derp gets to auto into the enemy Odin as well, and he can play this Web of Blade this turn.
Oh, how
Oh, that's
wonderful!
crazy.
Gift of Moonin. It's such a gift. Thank you for the gift. Let's see what he gets.
Yeah.
If he gets a,
He got a
wor-
soul, so
he got a
soul
soul.
is now a
He actually got a
3/2
soul.
charge for 3 mana.
The soul that's in his hand, to
probably
be fair.
the best card. Probably the best card he can pull from a Web of Word, I think, at this point. Unless he has another charge in hand.
No,
which he
but
does
he's got
not.
siege, so it's not a 3/2, it's a 5/2,
He does have siege. Oh my gosh.
which means he wins in 2 turns.
It also means that this Scotty is not long for this world.
Yeah, Scotty's dead right now.
Scotty is, and so is this Calder. They both spawned on the exact stone that
Oh
is
no.
the worst. Either way, they were both dead, most likely. But
He could have staggered
I mean,
one
now they're just
like to
extra
the
dead.
he could have staggered one to the right of the middle obstacle and then the other one to the back right of his top stone.
Yeah, so this is just, this is just ridiculous value right here. And there's also nothing that Namasil can do to, this siege is nuts. There's nothing that Namasil can do to clear this soul. Did
That
he have
soul's gonna-
double? Okay, no, he
Soul's
didn't.
doing 6 damage.
Yeah. 7! Soul's doing 7!
Oh no! Does he actually win this turn then? He wins this turn, right?
No, he doesn't, because it's already moved his Odin.
Oh, okay.
But, I mean, there's no way Namasil can come back from this.
No,
Like,
no,
that was... Like, there is literally no card
Ooh,
in the
I've got
game.
If Namasil draws Annihilation.
Annihilation. Yes. He wins the game. Yeah. Let's see if this is Annihilation right here.
It is not.
No, it's another Warrior Sigil. And so this is the difference between Derp's and Namasil's decks. Derp is going to be a little bit more of this mid-rangey Odin list. And you don't say that about Odin a lot, but you look at Namasil's list, and by comparison, it
comparatively,
very
oh my
much
gosh.
is. Yeah, I mean, like, if you're running Mayhems and Warrior Sigils and Backstabs,
You have to
need
win so fast.
You need to win the game by, like, turn 5, or
Yeah.
you need
That's
to
not an
effectively have the
understatement.
game won. You need to effectively have the game won by basically turn 5, or you are
Lose.
likely losing. Like,
You
you need
straight
to
up
have
lose.
such a big board advantage by
Like
that turn.
you need to absolutely 100% of the time draw Gift of Munin, and then
Yes.
use the Gift of Munin to draw into a bunch of low-cost cards that you can then flood the board with, and the other guy has to not draw anyway to clear your board.
You also have a difficult time.
You
Play-
straight up lose to Roman, like every time.
You probably also, I mean, you lose to Rushing Thunder. Yeah,
Yep.
it's such a volatile list that
Yeah.
I find it very interesting that he chose to bring it. I mean, it might work for him, but it's a very unique take on this Norse archetype of Odin Rush. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for him. We're going to see if he runs it back in game 2 against Derp. Stay tuned.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It's week 14, and we're in round number 4. Namasil taking on Derpy. And we've got Namasil's unconventional Odin list taking on Derp's Spellguan. I am Ilian. Alongside me tonight is going to be Strixus. What are we thinking about? How quick does this game have to end?
This game's got to be over quick, or it's going to be over quick, based on Namasil's list.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah, we see the Gungnir's Might. We see the Warrior Sigil also come out for Odin, and oh my gosh, this Arcane Conduit.
Oh, it's disgusting. Oh, it actually just did 5 damage, but...
Yeah, but like...
Goodbye,
this
Odin,
is
early
a
game.
lot of... Yeah, Odin's getting destroyed! Oh my gosh,
He's
man.
actually almost dead. Like, Gifted Moonin just disappeared, basically.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, he gets to heal himself for one, but you know that was a really, really necessary early game play for Nam. His hand is just not well centered to play.
It was 8 damage.
Mayhem basically gets. Oh my gosh, that Mayhem
Sniper!
shot.
Our deed shall be written
I mean, Guan just gets to replay himself for free, and Odin kind of doesn't have to do anything. Like, Odin might be able to come back from this, even despite this Arcane Conduit. Yeah, I mean, Odin can't put himself next to a Summoning Stone anymore.
He has to find his Hunter Sigils.
Yeah, and he has to keep those alive. Remember, Guan can run cards like Crescent Blade, just gets to kill those for free.
Strixus.
You get to Rushing Thunder.
Oh
my God. He's actually gonna do this? The Dragon King. Good night, sweet prince. Odin falls to the Dragon King. Derp showing his superiority here.
And that Dragon King is brought to you by Arcane Conduit. Because otherwise, there is no way that Namasil's gonna line up his units like that.
Yeah, that was... I mean, even if he didn't, like... He just dies to Dragon. The Surtur just dies to Crescent Blade like that. I mean, the second Gungnir's here is really cute.
What did you say at the beginning of this game? It's gonna be over quick, or it's gotta be over quick, or it's gonna be over quick,
or it's gonna be over quick. And I mean, it doesn't feel like Namasil is like should be on this back foot so hard, but this Arcane Conduit just limits so much of his movement. You see, like his deck is.
I mean,
just not very well positioned.
Derpy is so far ahead that he actually took the attack buff on the Wukong, rather than playing it.
Oh my gosh, he actually. I mean, he gets to now one-shot the enemy Odin, which is like it's very pertinent here.
Yeah, and Odin is melee, right? So he can't actually trade into the Sun Wukong. That's a blink. And I was gonna say maybe the blink could have been a saucy play where you like run in a unit to whack the Summoning Stone for 5 and then blink it out of Arcane Conduit range. But I mean, he's not at that point. He has to deal with this Sun Wukong, and then if he still has cards left in his deck, then he'll talk about winning.
I mean, Namasil just feels very far behind.
Because he is.
It's hard to deal. It's hard to deal with a 6/7 Sun Wukong, but it's also just hard to deal with. It's even harder to deal with an 8/1 Sun Wukong. Like this soul is not going to do much of anything to the Sun Wukong.
And hey, you've got a Crescent Blade left too, so you can kill that soul if you really want to. And I totally agree with doing so. You can run your Sun Wukong up and kill the Odin. So. Goodbye, Odin. He's gonna replay it, but it's gonna be 4 mana to replay, which is literally half of his turn.
Valhalla beckons you.
I mean, this is just absolutely ridiculous.
And next turn, Derp can just replay Odin and Crescent Blade one of these Warrior Sigils.
And this is the problem of Warrior Sigil. Like Warrior Sigil just.
Our deed
Isn't
shall be
hard
written
a lot of the time. The Sun Wukong. I mean, Sun Wukong put in his dues, but this Ao Kuang might put in more of his dues. Ao Kuang allows you to Crescent Blade things that have been Odin buffed that are at 1 health too.
Yeah.
Which is just, I mean, it's just even better for you. Like,
now,
Odin, even if Odin buffs one of these warriors, it's just not. It's not going to do anything.
This game is pretty one-sided at this point, but let me be clear, Namasil did not misplay at any point during this game, because his win condition,
Lining up the two warrior sigils into the arcane conduit, the two warrior.
he has to though, right? Because he has to stop Guan's spawn points. Arcane Conduit's a 1-0, so you don't really want to play around it, and
Yeah.
because it's only a 1-0, right? You have to do as much damage early in the game as you can, because if this deck takes a long time to do damage, you lose.
It doesn't
So-
do damage.
It does
Sure,
a lot of
right.
damage, but in order for it to do a lot of
if
damage,
you take time to do damage, it doesn't do damage.
yeah. So I mean, this is
I will not let you
he has to win this super early, and he played to that win condition where I'm playing all of my stuff. I have to take risks, because if I don't take risks, I just lose.
Right. So this is interesting. The Crescent Blade, he wasn't able to get as much value out of the Arcane Conduit killing the Warrior
I think he's
Sigil as he
got
wanted
plenty
to.
of
Right there.
arcane conduit value.
Yeah, I mean, he has. The Arcane Conduit has served its purpose for sure with that early game pressure that he was able to put out. I think it did 8 damage in that one turn, right?
E5.
Well, because I think it got to hit Odin again, didn't it? No, it didn't.
Oh
I
yeah,
think
no, it did. It did actually. It hit Odin
So
twice.
it did a total 7. It did a total of
damage.
7. And that's, I mean, when your Arcane Conduit can do 7 damage, that's a good Arcane Conduit.
And like we said, it's a one of, so you can't necessarily play
You
around
can't
a one of.
Reincarnation
It's very
is a
difficult to play
wonderful
around a card
gift.
like that. Alquang is going to fall here. I think that's fine, but you don't win by
No,
killing an Alquang. Your Odin's now low again.
you still have to do 14 damage.
Right. I don't know. This is
I do.
very grim. This is
I
very.
know.
I mean,
This game's over.
yeah. And Bull Demon King gets to get the mercy kill onto the Odin yet again. Do you just start hobwlying things?
Hey, Derpy's gonna be nice and give him infinite Scotties.
Oh, I would do. Yeah, give him more Calders.
Or
Although,
infinite colors, excuse me.
The more spells you play with only one thing on. If you only have one thing on the board, there's only one thing that the archer can hit. So. And there's another one. Guan's actually going to auto into the Calder, and this actually means that it
you
means
clear
he
the
gets to
board?
hold a
He can't
Crescent
clear the
Blade for
board.
whatever comes down next turn.
I mean, it might actually be incorrect to play units at this point because you just get crescent bladed and ping.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
but the
not,
problem
but-
is you have to, and the value mayhem there, dealing 3 damage for 1 mana, but not to anything relevant, unfortunately. This, you can manifold blade the tower for value if you really wanted to.
He wins the game this turn, right? Yeah.
What?
He wins the game this turn because he can, yeah, rushing thunder too, and he still had one auto too. So
Yeah, I mean, it was a fast game, it was an efficient game, and
we knew it would be.
yeah,
One way or
either
the other.
it was one way or the other. It was going to be quick, and that's just what happens when you either It wasn't that Namasil didn't hit his curve. His curve was pretty okay, but he lost it very quickly to that
Yeah.
Arcane Conduit, and that was just the beginning of the end. Derp just played a bunch of efficient threats and just steamrolled him essentially.
Well, either way, that's round 4. It's done. It's over with, and it was over pretty quick, just like Strix has predicted. We are going to go into the next round here, which I believe is winners finals.
Yes, it should be winners finals, and it looks like Ahel actually made his way to winners finals, taking out players like Douglas, Belgian Grump, and Federation along the way. So it's going to be Derpy versus Ahel in this slightly unconventional winners finals.
I mean, you say
Stay tuned.
unconventional, but both of these players are more than capable.
Absolutely. I mean, Derp's a ranked player. He's ranked top 8 right now in our in our rankings. So
Yeah.
I mean, he's a very solid player. A little bit memey in the scene. He loves his 4 mana 7/7s, but I mean, we just saw that you know, his deck building is solid and his plays are solid too.
Absolutely. I'm gonna go make Derp's Odin deck and win some games real quick. I don't know about you guys, but we'll be back in just a few minutes with the winners finals game.
Ladies and gentlemen, getting into winners game 1 of a Hell vs. Derpy Derp. I am Nuka DeLuca and I am here with Deathwalker. Deathwalker, how are you doing today?
I am doing amazingly good, and we're gonna have some exciting games here. And it's gonna be Guan Yu versus Odin, and Guan Yu already gonna have an Imperial Archer. It's gonna really help him into this matchup.
Yeah, well, I haven't seen too much Odin recently, especially with the new patch out. I've been seeing a little bit more, and even with Freya still coming out, I've been seeing an even amount of Odins and Freyas. And now that we have Hell coming out here too, I know that we'll probably see some Freya coming out from a Hell in the near future. But right now, Derpy Derp making it all the way to the semifinals, something I haven't seen before, and I'm actually really glad to see because I haven't seen him do this well before. What are your thoughts on a Hell and Derpy Derp even getting all the way here?
Yeah, you know, it's really amazing because these players put some hard time into the game still, and they didn't, like you said, they didn't make it up to this point here. So here we have two players that we usually don't see into the winners final. Sorry about that one. And both of these guys are a similar start with Doom Speakers, you know, similarly placed in the middle of the map here.
Yeah, and even both players right now, you have Ansys and Rushing Thunder, so they have an even amount of, an even amount of removal if they so choose. We don't see any Habois, but we do also have that Ao Kuang and Rushing Thunder sitting in the deck of a Hell right now in the hand. So if he really wants to show himself out a little bit in the near future, he can definitely play those two together, and it'll be a perfect combination. But we're going to see Soul coming out in the bottom left. Soul will be a great follow-up for the Archer in the bottom right, which will be taken out immediately as to not let that kind of steamroll out of control, so that every Crescent Blade that comes out, you're not getting that one extra damage, one basic attack going down in the center here. But I think having Soul out in a safe place like this is just fantastic. And even looking at the hand of a Hell, we have Transfusion and Chang'e sitting in hand. Something I haven't seen too much, and I'm glad is coming back.
Yeah, we definitely don't remember the last time I was seeing a Chang'e being transfused and really useful, right? It kind of was out of this meta, and it seems maybe it has come back. Nonetheless, Soul was able to kill that Imperial Archer, but it is to note that Odin had to waste one of his crippling curse to get that one done. So if there's any, for example, a big Uguay or Sun Wukong that's come down, it's not going to be able to use it for that. And Dragon King being used
Yeah.
to wipe off that Loki, because he put it on the same row of his magical his summoning stone. So that's gonna be really a big hit for Odin.
He just top decked the hard counter to Loki, and that for Guan Yu, that is the Dragon King, and if you put that in line with anything else on your board, it's going to be an instant death. So right now you can even see you can see a Hell just moving out forward from the right side of the map here, and really kind of showing off what he can do against an Odin. The fact that Derp really did kind of misplay there. He should have just kind of foresaw that, yeah, my opponent probably has a Dragon King. Just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. And right now he's probably thinking, look, I'm not going to let that ever happen again. But I've said that a few times in the past before. Surtur coming down the bottom left. There is another Surtur sitting in hand, so you can have your Scotty pushing out to 4 damage. And you have 2 Scotties, and having 2 Scotties and 2 Surturs is just going to be able to push to this entire game to one side. This is way too strong to be able to counter.
I mean, yeah, interesting that Hale decided to do a Crescent Blade instead of putting the Transfusion on the Chang'e. So maybe he's trying to bait something out of the Odin. Odin here with 4 mana and another Soldier, right? Right now, that Scotty paired with a Soldier could almost instantly kill that Chang'e with 5 attack, but is gonna decide to put more Kaldirs into the board and have his army spread all around it.
This is looking so bad. Just you have 2 Scotties, which also support 2 Kaldirs, both Kaldirs sitting at 3/3 plus. You have 2 Surturs eventually going to make it onto the map, and an Ansuz. There's no way that I don't think there's a way that a Hell can even kind of come back from this. You have a 0-2 Chang'e on the top right, but you do have an Ao Kuang, but no removal to follow up with it. Like nothing, no Crescent Blades. You just kind of, he has to get his leader back on the board.
Yeah, he already used one of the Rushing Thunders, so even if he picks up the second one, I mean, everything's gonna live. There's nothing that has less than 2 health right now. The Chang'e is gonna come down, the Kaldir is gonna approach, the Soldier is gonna support them, and I believe we're gonna see an Odin continuing to come down, and he still have, like you said, like there's also another Soldier that he can play using his leader ability to push some damage into this top summoning stone. The Scotty, the Kaldir together will still do 6 damage. So I believe that he's going to go for an Omen and probably take the damage Omen exactly to seal the game next.
So yeah, you see damage Omen coming down. That'll be able to put down enough removal just so that he can finish the game. You see another Ao Kuang being top decked for a Hell, and that's not what he wants here at all. He's going to go ahead and throw down the Blade Master. That's going to go ahead and take out one of the Scotties in the middle of the map, but that's just not going to be enough. If he wants to move out that Ao Kuang to kill off that Kaldir, he could, but I think he has to if he wants to save that top summoning stone. Right now, a Hell is just fighting to stay on here right now. Like he has to come up with answers so that he's able to stay in the first round of this winner's final right now.
So some good damage here being done by Hale to the army of Odin. But Odin still, you know, the Scotty and the damage Omen could kill the top summoning stone, and then the Kaldir is going to be able to push. And I believe that that's going to be lethal here.
Yeah, you have an extremely strong soul right there too. It's going to be able, yeah, he'll. Will he be able to finish top summoning stone? No, not yet.
Yeah, with the damage Omen.
Oh, with the damage Omen, yeah, he still had that.
There you go. First game, pretty fast. I mean, Soul getting charged is really important here. Odin got it from Web of Words, so that was an extra 2 damage. Important to note also that Odin was left with 2 mana, so he could even have pushed for 1 extra damage with his ability.
Guys, thank you for joining me and Deathwalker in the first game. Guys, we're going to get into the second game. Please stick around and stay tuned. We'll be back. Alright guys, starting in the middle of this game, you didn't miss much, but we do have a Guan Yu Ditto in the middle of the map already. They are exchanging blows. Let's take a look at the left side. We have a Hell, and on the right side, Derpy Derp. Both playing Guan Yu, and instantly a Vulcan Cannon coming out, getting removed by a Hebo. Deathwalker with me. Please take us into this game, into the matchup. Who's going to win, Guan Yu or Guan Yu? And take a look at their hands right off the start here.
I mean, we're seeing the exact same plays. We're playing the Imperial Archer, using that Crescent Blade to get rid of the Hebois. These players, each turn, have been using the Guan Yu to face off against the other. That's going to be the third time the Imperial Guard is being recalled, trading even more. And he's just going to continue. That's hilarious. Gonna replay that Imperial Guard, and I believe he's gonna recall the other one, right? This is such a funny game, guys. And they really have similar starts, using all their recalls and their Hebois to being able to bounce back the enemy hand, and using the Crescent Blades to get rid of the Hebois that comes down. So right now, I think that Derpy is gonna have a lot more removal here, and that Imperial Prize could help him throughout the later stages of the game.
And one cool thing to note is you have one Rushing Thunder in the hand of a Hell and 2 in the hand of Derpy Derp. No doubt these two guys are running 2 Rushing Thunders for all the removal potential that it has. But if Derpy Derp does get online his, well, there goes 1 Rushing Thunder already, and that's coming out of the hand of Hell. More to Derpy Derp because he can actually push on a lot more damage later on if he managed to get an Ao Kuang out. So like I said, we have 1 Rushing Thunder going down on the side of a Hell, and Chang'e coming onto the field, but no Transfuse to follow through. The hand of Derpy Derp is looking just so fulfilling right now. 1 damage going down on the Chang'e because he is afraid of that Transfusion. So I don't want to call it a bait, but either way, that Chang'e is in a good position. But oh yeah, that going to be able to take out just a lot of what a Hell was able to put on the field. That was a good move.
It was. The Blade Master is going to come down then and attack by surprise that Imperial Archer. Now, Derpy Derp is in a spot where he doesn't have much left into his hand except that Stone Guardian for threat. All the rest of it are defensive tools, and it's really unfortunate that the Chang'e and the Blade Master are not in that arcane conduit range right now.
Yeah, and more Crescent Blades being pushed out by Derpy. He's really just trying to get as much as he can out. You see those 2 Rushing Thunders, more Crescent Blades, and it's just like he's amassing all this removal, but he's not putting it to any use. And if he's too late to the party, then all of that removal is just not even going to be able to show up. Back over at a Hell, we have removal of our own for a Hell. He has a Hebo. He has even just if he wants to put down that Sun Wukong at some point, he'll be able to next turn. More Crescent Blades coming down the side of Derpy, so if he really wants to take this game, it's probably going to be through those Rushing Thunders and all the removal that he's just been stacking up.
Yeah. The Arcane Conduit is going to be played here, and that extra damage into the Blade Master here. The Rushing Thunder also is going to come down, and it's going to finish off the Blade Master and the Guan Yu being attacked by the other one. So it was a good bait. It was good. He did have some, some interesting trades thanks to that Arcane Conduit. But now Ahel still going to have so much damage. Look at that Baboonian Transfuse.
Yeah, Baboon is able to push out so much damage sitting at 6-6 right now. That Chang'e looking longingly over that Transfusion being used in the wrong place. And now that Chang'e seems to just not even going to have any relevance in the rest of this game. Just going to be able to heal the backline if anything. I don't think, and I say this very strongly, I don't think Derpy Derp can come back into this game. He's kind of amassing his army again once in the bottom right, but that Baboon is going to easily be able to take that top right stone, and even with the Conduit, Arcane Conduit out, it's just not going to matter. A Hell, he is sitting in a great place, and I think that if he can follow up right now, push more damage out to the stones, and kind of be a little bit, bring some patience to the game, he'll be fine. Hebo, Sun Wukong still sitting here. He's going to go ahead and just move up his front line. He doesn't even care about bringing his leader out. And there it goes. He's just going to bring his leader out.
I mean, the recall could also help here. It was definitely going to be a strong play. But, that means that that Archer will not get the RNG shot, and Derpy Derp is going to have to invest even more mana to get it out again. And right here, Ahel is storming the board.
There's that Ao Kuang we were hoping for before. Ao Kuang is able to just push out more damage if you have any damaging spell cards. So Rushing Thunder, Crescent Blade, really anything that can push out damage is going to be able to see 2 damage going across the board right now. Taking out the Habwa in the middle of the map, as well as the Chang'e just, again, sitting next to, or dying next to the transfusioned Baboon up there. The Baboon going to be able to take a lot more damage, but will not fall this turn by any means. Unless he just pushes all the Crescent Blades out, then that's so much investment.
It is. And that what is also really interesting here, he decided to move his Guan Yu all the way back instead of trading the Guan Yu for that Kang that had 1 health left. That's gonna be Sun Wukong, and with doubling the movement speed, he's going to finish up the game.
Yeah, he didn't get rid of the front line. You could have gotten rid of the Kang. You could have gotten rid of just more of the minions that were posing a threat. And to me, I guess he thought that Baboon was the biggest threat there.
Indeed. Nonetheless,
guys-
these are some really quick games, right?
Yeah, they really are.
Already 1-1 in this set.
Yeah. And we'll be getting into the next game. A game 3 between these two, Ahel and Derpy Derp. Who will go to losers finals and who will make it on to grands, guys? Please stick around. Don't go anywhere else. And thank you guys again for tuning in. We'll be back. Guys, getting into game 3 here, we have Freya versus Guan Yu. On the right side, we have Ahel, and on the left side, Derpy Derp. Going right into this game, Deathwalker, please take us into the hand, and as well as into the matchup and what we can expect.
I mean, right here, we can see that Guan Yu with that Dragon King and that Hebois maybe is going to go for a base run. I mean, you know, even if Norse is really aggro, Guan Yu can do so much damage from spells and can protect his stone with that Arcane Conduit that he just picked up. But on the other side of things, Freya has double charge in hand and a sprint also to have some of his own burst damage. Will be interesting what does the splitters choose to do, if one of them are going to go with defense or both of them are going to go full offense, like we see that Hebois going down now.
Yeah, one thing I'm afraid of is because Ahel's hand right now, he has double charge as well as a sprint and a web of wind. So those are late game items. Those are late game cards that will help you kind of destroy later on. And if he's pushing the base right now, he's going to be in a bad place for the late game. That Calder isn't going to bring him into late game. That Doom Speaker not going to help out either. He's going to keep moving in and start pushing more damage onto this top stone up there with the Scotty in the back line. And looking over at Derpy Derp, you have an Oogway, you have a Dragon King, and Hebo isn't being taken care of. And right now you are using your mana to whoop the back line Hu Yi. So kind of kind of weird.
Wow. Look at that. Look at that perfect Arcane Conduit paired with some Crescent Blades. That's gonna get rid of the Caldeer and half of the health on the Freya if he really wants to right now.
Yeah, he's able to push out so much damage. That Arcane Conduit was a great get, honestly, from the beginning. And now that has that in his hand, now that he played that on the field, and now that it's dealing all the damage that it's supposed to, that forward pushing, that rushing Freya that we saw at the beginning of the game is going to be quickly being pulled back into a Hell's Hand and played back in his base again, as this Freya is sitting at 4 health. He's going to go ahead and charge the Ymir, which is going to instantly freeze the Hu Yi, move back into the Conduit and trade with the Hu Yi.
He could have stepped to the right of that
Yeah.
and not get damage. He's going to not only lose the Freya, but he's going to lose the value from Gift of Munning, which each time Freya attacks is going to get basically a free card. It's going to draw a card. And that was probably a misclick, right? I can't believe that he really wanted to go there. And there you see the curses spans. The new addition to the game, the emotes, right?
Yeah,
So
emotes coming up.
the Hebwalk here is really huge for Guan Yu, because right now with the Dragon King in hand, he only needs to deal 4 damage to the top summoning stones and finish the bottom one.
Really, we're probably going to see the end of the game soon. I don't think that a Hell can come back from this. He invested so much in their early game. He put that Ymir down. He charged it. He attacked a Hu Yi, and then it got sent back to his hand. So he put so much investment into his front line, and it got destroyed instantly. Freya coming back down in home, and he's able to whoop that. He's able to whoop Habois, and kind of has to follow up from there.
That Imperial Archer with the projection is gonna kill that Scotty, and that Scotty was the only thing who was dealing consistent damage to the top summoning stone. Now Freya doesn't have anything else to be able to do damage right now. Right? A Doom Speaker is not really what you want here. It's gonna be really slow, so he's going to choose to banish instead and try to win some time.
Yeah, those Arcane Conduits are just playing such a huge role right now. Like, a lot of what Freya has to offer is going to put everything in a melee range of those stones, so even if you do get into the late game, that Arcane Conduit's going to be far too strong. That Guan Yu and the paired off with that,
Wow.
yeah, instantly able to take that out. That's huge.
The Enrage on the Freya giving +4/+0, but she will die at the end of the turn. But if you use it to kill an Ao Kuang, I mean, she's gonna die no matter what. So that was really an interesting choice. And that Kang here is gonna be also able to kill that Imperial Archer on the next turn. But Guan Yu, with Dragon King and Manifold Blade,
Yeah.
right? This looks like
One turn.
6, 7, 9 damage. He is missing 1 damage. And if he plays 2 spells, Manifold Blade, Dragon King, he has one of the shots of the archer that goes on the summoning stone. That is lethal, right? So he has 2 times 50% chance if he wants to hit it. And even one more with that Crescent Blade coming into the Fang, he's gonna make another Crescent Blade. I believe he has 100% chance now with the 2 Crescent Blade that he had before. And here it goes. Dragon King could have been played first though to deal some damage to the Kang and be sure that the other ones were hitting that stone. The Manifold Blade here not even going to be played, and it's going to be GG.
Yeah, the fact that he was able to nail down that one random shot, it just kind of brought him to the end. Even if he was missing 1 health, even if the Crescent Blades were thrown onto the Conduit, I think he would have been in a good place too. But either way, it was just a slow victory. That Arcane Conduit just playing such a huge role. That's such a good card. And the Enrage, being able to bring your leader up to 4 extra attack power and taking out that Guan Yu was a good play, but it didn't bring him anywhere. Any thoughts more on that entire set that we just saw between a Hell and Derpy Deathwalker?
I mean, we just saw 3 5-minute games, so these players are really feeling themselves and just going super aggressive one on each other. It's gonna be, I mean, we're going to see Darps in the finals. See how he performs if he's going to continue to play that fast.
Alright guys, so Deathwalker and Illy will take you guys into the losers finals, where you will find again a Hell versus Kenneth. And we'll see you guys back later. Thank you again.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We're in the Smite Tactics Saturday tournament, and we're the losers finals. Ahel's going to be taking on Kenny, and this is a Freya matchup. It's a Freya mirror. Deathwalker right beside me. What can we look for? What's different between these two players' approaches?
Well, definitely Kenneth, sorry, already starting with a soldier on the board. Well, Hayhels really has nothing to do right now. He has but then he's not in range to attack that soldier, so he's gonna need to vanish. And then Kenny still has a lot of stuff to continue and damage that Freya. And once that Freya is down for Hayhels, it's gonna be hard to come back.
And this is actually really interesting because Ahel's deck is much more early game, and Kenny's is almost infuriatingly late game for a Freya. So this is really, really good for Kenny that he's able to get off to a start on the board.
Yeah, so we're going to see here that, you know, between all the damage that's going to pile up this turn, the Freya of Hayhel is going to go down, and Kenny's going to have a lot of work to go. Now, will there's a charge in the hand of Ahel that could be really useful with Mirror, anything else that he picked up if he decides, but he's gonna need to act fast because that Fenrir right now is gonna be.
Well, Ahel does have the answer to that Fenrir though, right? He's got that crippling curse in hand, so it's not completely over. But I mean, you're not wrong. That is a very scary Fenrir with no direct answer right now.
So it's gonna be Kenny's gonna decide to trade his Freya to get that soul, meaning that right now Ahel is gonna need another soul combined to that crippling curse to get one of the two Fenrirs right here.
He does have that discounted web of word in hand though, so he could easily get a soul out of that second web of word. He got the soul out of the first one, but he really needs to find one of those natural souls in his deck right now, I feel. And if he finds the other crippling curse, he could get a twofer with knock out both those Fenrirs.
So here Kenny has a lot of options for him. He's gonna go and continue to play aggressively, playing that soul right now. That soldier, even at 1 life, gives so much to Kenny right now. That soul having 2 attack, it's basically 100% more attack.
And that's a good way of looking at it too, because a lot of times you think, oh, it's just +1. No, this is plus 100%, which is even scarier than just saying, you know, my soul does 1 more damage. My soul's doing twice what she's supposed to. And like you said, it's that 1/1 Surtur providing so much. That came down on the first turn with the mana potion, and it's been hanging around.
So we're gonna see the second time that Hale loses Freya, and he's also gonna be much harder to replay her and banish that Fenrir. Because if the Fenrir is not banished each turn now, it's gonna be able to one-shot the Summoning Stone eventually. Now it's gonna have a Baboon coming down, putting even more pressure on Ahel.
He's found his natural soul. Oh no, that was the other web of worded soul, excuse me. And he's going to be able to clear off the Surtur and the soul up top for Kenneth. But he honestly, in my opinion, he has to keep, because he can't whoop this Fenrir now. He has to keep finding crippling curses.
He's missing a mana also to charge that Ymir to lug down that Fenrir at the same time. So right now, it really feels like it was kind of a fast click, right? Oh, I got that soul. I'm just gonna quick play her and get rid of the top monsters of Kenny. But what happened is, since the nerf of soul, she doesn't cost 2 mana anymore. It costs 3 mana. And here we can see how this little nerf that she got is gonna end up probably costing the game to Ahel.
Is there a way he can actually stabilize this turn? I don't think so, right?
I don't think so. There's nothing to really lock down that Fenrir. There's gonna go with a Sign of Doom. I mean, he could charge it, but what does that achieve? It's gonna be a little bit. Oh, he's trying to volley block the Fenrir, but that's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Freya is just gonna be able to use the banish to get rid of the soul, and then the Fenrir comes in. And here we're gonna see their surrender, realizing that he's dead on board.
That was
Literally on
brutal.
board, he's dead. So that was a really fast game, and Fenrir taking off the game right here.
Well, I mean, to me, that was Kenneth got off to a great start. He was able to play that Surtur, and Ahel didn't have an answer to it because he didn't have any early minions, and that's something that Norse really does need. Norse needs to find early minions, be it Cursed Hunters, Surturs, even Scotties. Yeah,
Yeah.
but he didn't have any answers, and that Surtur just put out so much work.
Yeah, that's true. Especially also that he decided 2 of the turns into the game, he decided to invest 4 mana into Web of Word, which effectively does nothing for you on the board, right? Yes, it gives you an extra card that has more attack later in the game, but right now when you play that card, you're just losing mana and losing tempo to do actually nothing.
Well, either way, that one was short and sweet. 5-minute quick game there. We'll be bringing game 2 here, and we'll see if Ahel can come back into the series. Hello everybody, and we're getting back into game here. Sorry about the delay on that, just a little bit behind, but we're getting into the 3-mana turn here for Kenny. Just plopped down a Sagittarius. Tells me this is a Roman matchup. Ahel's running back the Freya Deathwalker. What are we looking at here?
We missed some of the early game right here, but there is definitely some options this time for the Freya. You have that Fenrir coming out of board, then you're going to be able to probably charge something that's going to need to pick up next turn. So he does have something to play, at least in the first turns of the game. While Kenny, though, had a perfect curve with that cannon into that Ascension, that's a Sagittarius coming down. And then you have Cupids and Terra to finish off the curve.
I mean, you talk about curve a lot, and I think curve is extremely important in this specific game. How much of an advantage does curving out like that give Kenny?
I mean, it's not only in this particular game, right? Curving out is pretty important in most of the games right now in Hand of the Gods, because if you're missing something to play on curve, like when it's your turn and you don't have something to play, there is like literally your chance of losing that game are really, really high. So the fact that Kenny is able to continue and apply pressure by always playing the maximum amount of his mana each turn, it's gonna really give him an edge if Ahel misses a drop in his turn.
And looks like next turn, Ahel's looking at, well, a whole lot of nothing, honestly. Oh, the Ymir's a great top deck, though. But do you save it for the charge for next turn? Or do you loot something and then, I don't know, play Siege?
Well, you see, that's one of the issues here. He couldn't play anything, so he's forced to banish and trade his Freya just to maximize the amount of mana that he could spend. That's exactly what we're going to see here.
That's the enlist coming down. Kenny's still on curve. That's a 5-mana play. He has had literally a 2-mana play on the 2-mana turn, 3-on-3, 4-on-4, and now 5-on-5. And he just has so much board presence right now. 4 ranged units on board plus his leader.
Yeah, and really, the turret has like one of the best placements right now. Being able to constantly attack that 70 zone if there's nothing else to be attacked, and just, you know, zoning out the Freya and all of his minions that he put on the bottom, knowing that that turret's gonna have a free shot at them.
And it looks like Ahel is not going to elect to develop the Ymir in this particular turn. He's going to banish and instead play the Scion of Doom, pushing 2 damage into that leader. How important is it to kill Bellona? Because in a Norse matchup, you know, you always want to kill the leader. How much do you want to kill the Roman one?
Well, it really depends, right? Yes, Bellona's gonna be a free kill right here, but you know, while there's so much range unit right now, you may save your attack, you know, or anything, just to being able to remove these back archers. But at the same time, if you don't kill Bellona, everything that your opponent's gonna play most likely is gonna have too much health. It's gonna be even harder to beat them.
Look at the Dream Drop, though. Ahel's managed to pull a soul out of his Web of Word for a perfect 7-mana turn. And he's able to clear 4 things from Kenny, so that's a huge swing.
Yeah, and the Bellonas too. He basically like hit two with one rock. He killed 2 birds.
Yeah. I mean, he killed 4 birds. There are 4 less units.
You're right. That's a lot more, much more effective right now. We're gonna see a baboon coming down, and the mercenaries are gonna finish off that Freya. So it's gonna be even harder for Ahel. Yeah, the Essentius. Yeah.
You said
Is
mercenary.
that the Essentius? It's a mercenary.
No,
but it
you
was a
said
3/6.
mercenary. I know, but you said mercenary.
Sorry.
Either way, there's the Ymir
yeah.
charge.
They're really similar in my defense, though.
Yeah, they are.
Your turn is going to be great, but why did he charge to the baboon, right? The baboon's going to have treated attack on that Ymir, and it's in the exact position where the cannon is going to take him off. If he would have played the Ymir to the left of the 7 stone and charge him, at least it would have not died to that cannon right there. And we're going to see a Kang coming down, and that's interesting.
Kang is an interesting card, and a lot of people might not be terribly familiar with what Kang does. He's a 5/4 with immune to ranged, right?
Exactly. So anything that is ranged will not be able to deal damage or try to attack him. He's gonna literally
This world and I
take
share
people
many
damage.
things.
That's pretty good, but the
The
Terra
will
is an
to
excellent
survive.
answer because it's going to be able to stun the Kang out and then allow the Essentius to ignore it, in fact. He's actually going to push stone damage, which I like because he can already kill that top stone, and Kang's not going to win in the game.
No, that's for sure. Kang's gonna be great if he wants to attack for free some of the range unit. But looking at the board, there's like 4 options to attack.
Yeah.
You have 2 cannons, a Venator, and a baboon, and you only have 7 health left onto your stone. So the obvious thing was to banish that Terra. That's gonna kill you next turn. But then, just looking at the board, Bellona needs 1 more damage.
No, she's already
The baboon
got-
is in range. Yeah, the baboon is already in range, so we
So is the
already
Venator.
have
Right?
enough to. Now the
Oh,
Venator is
Venator's
1
not in
off.
range. Yeah, I can't count.
But he has 9 damage right now, and that's excluding what he has in hand. But he doesn't have any damage to directly damage his stones. So.
Uh-oh. He didn't count.
Yeah, it feels like.
Oh no!
It's just.
He missed lethal!
He still have it with the baboon.
Oh yeah, he does.
If
That's right.
He uses so.
He didn't see it!
Come on! Oh, come on!
Come on,
he
Kenny.
just got the
You
arrow
can do it.
there.
Okay, everybody in chat, BM Kenny for missing lethal.
He's gonna kill his Cupid, and he just. Oh, okay, there you go. He was trying to really go down to attack some of these stuff, but he's gonna go left, and he was in range. Nonetheless,
Oh my
that was
gosh.
funny.
That was brutal.
That's really funny. He had so much resources. He still got the lethal in the same
yeah.
turn, and that's the most important thing. So he's
And he
gonna
still had a Giannis in
2-0.
hand too.
Oh yeah, for any late game control if he needs it. But he's gonna 2-0 A-Hell in this set.
That's insane because honestly, normally when I see a card game, right? Normally I don't want to just blame the cards entirely, but frankly, Ahel did not have a good starting hand in either of his Freya games, and that's super important to have an aggro with a good hand.
Yeah, well, he finished the game with a Siege, I believe, a Loki, a Bull Demon King, and
Blade Master.
Blade Master. Yes, that's it. And these are all like really high cost cards, or really specific cards that are good in only one situation, right? Siege is only good if you attack the Summoning Stone.
Right.
If you're playing defense, Siege is not going to help you at all, in no matter, it's not going to give you any defense at all.
Well, regardless, he needed more defense. Maybe he did Ahel, but that's going to take him out of this tournament. That's his second loss of a set in this particular tournament. It's going to move Kenny on to the grand finals, where we will see you shortly. It's going to be Kenny taking on Derpy, and Nuka and Death will bring that to you in just a couple minutes.
Guys, here we are again in Grand Finals. I am Nuka DeLuca, and I am right here with Deathwalker once again. So, Deathwalker, take us into this game, take us into this matchup, as we have on the left side Kenny Kensworth, and on the right side Derpy Derp once again.
Well, Fred's going to start off with a Gunner's Might. That's going to be really good, especially that his opponent is also melee and has no way to buff his attack. Poseidon, Derpy Derp playing is famous Highlander Poseidon, which means that he only has one copy of each card in the Greek Pantheon in his deck right now. So we're going to see how Poseidon Highlander can deal with a Freya that already attacking for half of his health on the
4
first turn.
damage. That's insane. He's just able to push out so much damage early on. We're literally in turn 2, and he just hit him for 4 damage. There goes down a Thanatos, though, able to remove that backline. But is it going to matter? You're already at 3 damage and a 7th Freya, which is already going to take the time to whoop the Thanatos instead of dealing with it, and potentially even finish off, if not bring the leader to 1 health.
Yeah, that was a lot of damage. I mean, and he's going to also take the damage omen, probably to just finish off that Thanatos whenever it's going to come down. Poseidon, though, has a Nemesis, It's gonna use leader ability. That's gonna be really useful. It's gonna waste his whole turn here.
Yeah, and like you said, that damage omen can come down to removal. Loki already coming out in conjunction with the damage omen, but Freya has the potential to use the hero ability next turn on that Arachne, if he so chooses, so that he can just kind of push more damage onto the stones. Or he can just go ahead and remove it with the Loki. I gotta take the time here, I love the fact that he's balancing removal with the aggro here.
That's totally true, right? Next turn he's gonna have charge Ymir and a Fatalis if he chooses so. Oh, the Arachne,
Oh my
a
gosh.
spider with Athena killing that Loki is a huge deal.
I wouldn't think that the spider would really come in that much handy, but it really did. Now Ymir coming back out with a charge will be able to either freeze the Athena or just push damage onto the stone. He's gonna go with the Athena. Again, that balance between removal and damage coming out. That baboon is gonna be able to put on so much ranged pressure. I think he could always save that Athena for the next turn too, but he's gonna go ahead and not take the risk and just go ahead and
But
remove it.
killing the Athena right now ensures that if your opponent's gonna play Nemesis and Judgment, you're gonna be safe from it, right? So this actually just saves Ymir from the Nemesis Judgment combo because there will not be two gods on the battlefield, only being Nemesis the only god. So Derpy's gonna go with a Diamond Intervention when he definitely needs something on board right now.
He just drew cards. He thinks he's going to get to late game like this, though. If he continues kind of drawing cards and playing a little bit more passive, I don't want to say he's playing passive, but he's Divine Intervention.
Look at 5 attack Freya. Freya with Fatalis right now could have one-shot the bottom Summoning Stone. That's insane. There's way too much stuff in the board. All of the cards of Poseidon are in his hand and not on board. I don't see how Poseidon's gonna be able to continue even one turn, right? If the Freya survive right here, we know that it's a Fatalis. So if Freya survive, that is GG right there.
Well, one thing as well, you do have, you have that Ace of Fatalis. If that Freya can move down, attack the stone in a good place, then it's going to be a good game. But right now, it doesn't even seem like Derpy Derp can come through. If he kind of manages to block off his Summoning Stone, I would give it to him. But I think right now, it's going to be the end of the game. And he just had the right cards to move in and completely destroy his opponent here.
This was the fastest game of Tactics I've ever saw in a tournament right there.
Hey, hand of the
4
gods,
minute
please.
game. 4 minute game. That is insane.
That was insane, guys. So, yeah, a 4-minute Hand of the Gods game. And, guys, we'll be moving on to Game 2 of the Grand Finals. Kenny versus Derpy Derp, guys. Who do you think is going to take the game? We'll get into the next game, though, guys. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back. Welcome back. We are back in the grand finals of Kenneth versus Derpy Derp. Bologna versus Odin. We have on the left side Derpy Derp playing Odin on the right side. Kenneth playing Bologna. Guys, we're in game 2 of the grand finals, and these two are just duking it out in the center here. What can we find here, Deathwalker? What are we going to expect between these two? Take us into the matchup. Take us into the hands. Let's go, Deathwalker.
Well, Derpy Derp here, going with the Odin, is going to go with the Gift of Money to draw extra cards and boosting himself to ensure that he's going to stay healthy. The damage omen that he made the turn before is going to be able to remove the cannon. While Kenny, though, still has a really good curve with that cannon into the Essences that is going to be able to deal AoE damage around him.
So not only are you able to draw every single basic attack for free, but you're also able to push out 2 damage and have 1 extra health to push out that free damage. It's just, in conjunction with that Odin ability, he's able to draw a card every time, which is so amazingly powerful. He also has that removal sitting in hand, 1 charge, Asserter. This is an early hand deck. There's nothing late game about what I'm seeing right now, and that is 2 imps, charge, Asserter, and he'll be able to follow through with this so well. Kenneth, a lot of late game cards I'm sitting right there.
Yeah, but look at that, right? Already, playing the 0 mana card, already drew 2 cards. That's insane value. Now, he's gonna have to find a way, though, to deal with that Janus. He could always use the Fire Imp in combination with the Gremlin Curse, or a Damage Omen from the Insys to be able to get rid of that. But he's gonna choose to attack first to see if he doesn't get a better option from the draw.
Now, did he take a card from his opponent's deck? As
Janus. No, Janus sits at the start of your turn.
Oh, at the start.
So he didn't have time to get that card.
Yeah.
So Kenny's gonna get a Fire Giant, but you know he needs some creatures right now, and the sense is gonna come down, and he's going to continue to hold out this point. And Essentials may be good, but it's nothing against a Charge Ymir.
Yeah, so Fire Giant, like you said before, it's good if you have that frontline support, and right now you're not having anything on the board. That charge Ymir gonna come out instantly, put that, what is it, Venator? No, correct me here. Essentials down to 3-2. That Essentials probably won't even see the light of combat ever again, as it's just gonna be frozen in place for the next few turns. Odin just sitting in the middle of the map again, and he has so much support. He can bring down Assault, and he can bring down Surtur in the
5
future.
cards drawn now. And remember that's a 0 mana card that just give you 5 cards, and your Odin's not even close to be dying here.
Web of Wind coming into his hand. I wonder what he's going to choose here. We'll see in a moment. He ends up going with
Soul.
Was that Soul?
Soul. Yeah, because he has 2 now in
There
his
it is.
hand.
Yeah.
So I mean, and Soul is probably the best one by far to get because she has charge, right? So you can keep your charge for other targets, and use that extra damage right away with that charge that he already has. And the Soul also has the ability to do AoE damage, which is really good in a game where you need to spawn adjacents to your unit or your leader.
So yeah, 2 Souls and a Surtur coming into the hand of Derpy Derp here. He'll be able to follow through with this so well. While sitting in the hand of Kenny, we're coming into turn 7, and he instantly throws down that Fire Giant. Not only because that extra damage he'll be able to push, but also that just having a 7/7 on the map, as well as protecting your structures, is just such a strong move right now.
Look at that. A 5/3 Soul is going to be able to not only deal 5 damage to the Fire Giant, but also the Summoning Stone. That Damage Omen's going to finish up what's left of him. And now, no matter what Kenny plays right now, it will be taken out by that 4/3 Soul or 5/3 Soul next turn.
It's not looking good for Kenny. I got to give it out right now. You had such a high value hand at the beginning, and now it's going to be taken into the late game. It's just not going to help him. Bologna is such a strong character. I've seen a lot of Bologna games, but they're not supposed to go like this.
Look at that. We're going to see more souls coming out and attacking the Summoning Stone. And that's going to be what? That's going to be Siege? I believe that's Siege.
Yeah.
Right? Siege going to kill the bottom Summoning Stone. it's going to be able to also kill that Venator. Now the Soldier that now, you know, since all the melee units are now 3 movement, that Soldier is going to be able to deal 2 damage. No, 1 damage because he got -2 from the Demoralized and +2 from the Siege. Am I right?
Yeah. And even now that Soul was able to kill because Soul has Siege, you're able to kill any minions around it that have 3 health, even though Soul can only push one damage out right now. That's just so huge.
Right. The Olden right here is not gonna have anything right to finish that stone, but it's not like Kenneth can come back from this game, right? There's so much stuff on board. I would have actually loved to see the Odin attack the Summoning Stone before the Soul, just to draw an extra card, even if he has 0 attack. Right? The point is, you don't need attack. You just need to attack it. Oh, Kenny's gonna be able to clear the full
2 Rains of
board
Arrows.
here. And I mean, honestly, I didn't expect him to be able to survive 1 more turn. And Odin already used 3 souls, so the maximum that he could have is another one from another web board that could potentially finish the game next turn. Or if he picks up the other copy of the charge, he's not going to pick that, but Loki is going to be a pretty good finisher moving on next turn.
Yeah, even with Loki coming out, I want to see Kenny somehow pull the miracle of Hand of the Gods right now to be able to come back from this game. But with Loki sitting on the field, the infamous horrible Loki, I think that will end the game pretty easily coming into the very, very near future. I want to see what he'll do here though. Mercenary
Baboon.
Inferno, it's just Baboon could actually protect.
Yeah, that could actually be something. If he managed to body block the Loki out of range of the Baboon, this means that next turn the Baboon is going to be able to, with his 3 attack, to kill for free the Loki.
I like the way he's playing this. He's playing it so smart. Kenneth just doing such a great job of just kind of buying himself as much time as possible. And now it's not like he was at a deficit of cards. He had a handful of cards, and now you see, 4 cards sitting in his hand. So he's been able to play everything as much as he possibly can. It's just that Derpy Derp is with that basic attack coming out of Odin every turn. He was able to draw so much more than his opponent.
Oh yeah, I mean, he threw out like 5, 6 cards with that Gift of Munning, and he only has 3 cards in his hand, meaning that he did push for a lot of tempo and lots of cards, much more than Kenny, and we can see that here. The Frenzy is gonna come down, the Odin's gonna come down, buffing that Loki, and because they're still in range and nobody blocks the Loki, he's gonna kill the Baboon.
Oh my gosh.
And the Scotty's gonna finish off that game. Another pretty quick game, I should say.
That was insane. Just to be able to have the Loki go perfectly up to 9 damage, finish off the Baboon, and follow up with a basic attack from the Scotty was just such a great ending. If it didn't end like that, and if he was not able to push out that extra damage and thus remove the Loki, you had Derpy Derp sitting at 6 cards in his deck. I think it would have been a great end just to see if Kenneth would have been able to take that game. But we have a set count of 1-1 right now. And yeah, we have Kenneth, who coming from the loser side, if Kenneth does want to keep in this, he's going to have to take the next game or reset the bracket. Otherwise, if Derpy Derp does take the next game, guys, we're going to see the winner of this week's Hand of the Gods tournament. Guys, Deathwalker and I will be back to cast what could potentially be the last game. So please stay tuned, cheer on your favorite, and we'll be back with the last game. Guys, getting into Grand Finals Game 3, Kenneth versus Derpy Derp. Who is going to take first and second? If Derpy Derp can take this game, he will be the winner. But if Kenneth can manage to pull himself out and into the bracket reset, we will see Kenneth taking the bracket back to Derpy Derp and seeing if he can win this. Guys, let's get into this game. Deathwalker with me right now. What can you expect out of this game between the matchup and just these characters overall?
Well, we're going to see right there, you know, a Stone of Guardian, Winnick Guan Yu, really interesting, not pairing up with a Nuwa that can increase his health and attack. But now, if that Stone of Guardian is not going to be dealt fast, it's going to start sniping everything from across the board. But we know that, you know, one of the new cards of Roman here, Rain of Arrow, is going to be deal 2 damage. That is not in a 3x3 area, and that is not a Summoning Stone.
Yeah, and also take a look because you have the you have Outmaneuver too, which is one of the newer cards. You're able to remove one of your minions on the board, which will honestly be an Inferno cannon, which I've seen a lot, and you'll be able to give 6 damage to any of your opponents. So that's some pretty nice removal for later on in the game if you're returning or destroying one of your lower cards. Do you think we'll see that into play, and have you been running it yourself, Deathwalker?
I've been definitely trying out maneuvering, and I think that the best use you can get with that card is playing, for example, 1 mana mercenary that's gonna be 3/3 or 4/4, being able with his charge to kill something, outmaneuver it into your hand, and replay that mercenary again. So you know you can definitely see some of the coolest combos here, and Guan Yu is gonna go ahead with an Arcane Conduit and a Crescent Blade, take down that cannon in the middle of the way.
We have seen a lot of Arcane Conduit every time a Guan Yu has been played in this entire tournament. I feel like we've seen an Arcane Conduit. It's just such a strong card to be able to say, hey, no melee allowed to basically the integral part of the game, and that's your Summoning Stone. So Ao Kuang and a Crescent Blade coming into the hand of Kenneth here. I want to see if, sorry, Derpy Derp. I want to see if he'll get any thunders, any kind of more removal to support that Ao Kuang.
I mean, he already has 2 Crescent Blades. That's something huge. That's going to be 4 damage coming out in combination on the same turn with Ao Kuang. But not only that, he's going to have 7 mana, which means that he's going to be able to do a 3rd Crescent Blade. So next turn, it's going to be Ao Kuang and potentially 6 damage coming out from Guan Yu.
And if you can match up that damage with that Imperial Guard at the top, then you'll be able to not only push out that damage, but also move across the map and have your Pardon ability, if I am correct, right?
Yes, each time you will play a spell, you will take no return damage with these Imperial Guards that are already in the board, and they will get +1/+0 attack. So not only Ao Kuang is going to push for 6 damage, just like Nuka mentioned, but it's going to get +3/+0 for the remaining of that turn.
Terra coming out, such a strong card. If you can play, if you can somehow return Terra to your hand as well, then play it again, you'll be able to get that double stun out. And we've seen that a lot, especially Terra on this map, where you can either move up high in the middle or down low. Terra is such a strong force here. I love the fact that I like that he played it, but did he have to play it this early? I don't know. But to be able to have a 6/6 on the field, there goes down the Rushing Thunder. 2 Crescent Blades still in hand, and if he wants to push out another next turn, that Ao Kuang is in a safe place that he could if he wanted to. There go the Imperial Guards, able to whop down the leader of Kenneth there. There Bellona sits on the ground, and he'll even be able to finish off the Terra if he wanted to.
That's exactly what's going to happen. So no outmaneuvered for that Terra. That could have come down a second time, like you said. Kenny, though, still plenty of options here. That just senses out of the top, though. It's not going to really do much. Maybe poke that Imperial Guard, but could potentially die next turn to a Crescent Blade. Or any spells that Guan Yu has that's going to give no return damage to that Imperial Guard. So it seems like we're going to see another Rain of Arrow here, just to being able to get that pesky Imperial Guard out of the way.
And he'll be able to even build up some more of his backline. Kenneth just putting down some more small minions, kind of trying to support his later game, but he does have a lot of cards in his hand, and if he can kind of play this and kind of move his way to the late game, I think Kenneth will be able to move on with this game and potentially even reset the bracket here. With the hand of Derpy Derp, you do have a Hebo to return any huge things that come his way. and also a Sun Wukong, which could potentially even be the end of the game too.
Yeah, I want to point out that if that mercenary at the bottom lives, it's a 1/1 play they had created from Sagittarius, right? But outmaneuvered that mercenary, it's going to return him to in hand and being able to deal 5 damage, for example, to kill that Ao Kuang that is really annoying right there, and boosting all the Crescent Blades from Guan Yu. And you're going to have a whole new mercenary that you're going to be able to play in combination with the second one that you have in your hand.
He'll just have a horde. He's just literally going to be hoarding all these archers on his side, and there goes down the Bologna ability to support everything that's going to be happening here. So he can't play the card right now. What is it?
Outmaneuvered?
Outmaneuvered. Yeah, he can't play outmaneuvered right now because he doesn't have enough mana. So we're not going to see that yet, but he still has potential to do it. If he wants to play down the mercenary next turn, he didn't opt to play it now, but I think Kenneth is in a good place right now. And Derpy Derp kind of staying back at home, safe in his Arcane Conduit. There goes down the Dragon King.
Wow, that's going to be a huge Dragon King. Killing that bottom Summoning Stone, sniping that 1/1 mercenary. Now, he is really looking really good to finish off that. He's going to even be able to put down Hebwa to return that Sagittarius to the opponent hand, just leaving Bellona on board. And Bellona itself doesn't have really good ways to kill that Hebwa. And not only that, but that Ao Kuang is threatening lethal next turn.
There's nothing he can do. He's strongly approaching the end of the game, and thus the end of the tournament right here. Derpy Derp looking very strong coming into the finals. I think he can find it here. It's just, you have a Sun Wukong sitting in hand, as opposed to Kenneth here, who has so much to offer, but not able to even push out onto the field.
I mean, Kenny has a Baboon and a Demoralize to lower the attack. Oh wait, he's not going to play the Baboon, not going to opt for that safe defense. He could definitely play the Demoralize though. Maybe he was hoping to get another Century from Sagittarius to trade with that 2/1 Hebwa. But it's going to outmaneuver this Sagittarius, and that's going to leave him, Summoning Stone?
Yeah.
Oh, that Sun Wukong, it definitely just wrecked everything that was left on the board of Kenny. Now, I want to say that he's not gonna have any choice except to play that Baboon right there with the Demoralize. He's gonna play 2 Demoralize. That's gonna have 0 attack on all the units of Derpy Derp.
He's still not opting for that Demoralize, but really does he have to at this point? You have a 0-8, a 0-1, a 0-3, and a 2-7 on the field right now. The strongest card you have is a Sun Wukong sitting in the middle of this field here, and that's at 2-7. He's going to move in and not even be able to kill anything and just push damage out on the Summoning Stone.
Know your enemy.
Another Ao Kuang's going to come down and is going to finish off that... Oh!
Unless you're fighting
The
a
sniper.
dragon, of course.
It's gonna finish off that last. Yep, there he goes, finishing off everything that he has on board and leaving that Summoning Stone with 3 health.
3 health. It's so awkward to be able to melee the Summoning Stone and get nothing out of it, especially with your leader. But we are going to see the end of the game. There goes down Rain of Arrows, or no,
Enlist.
Enlist. Same stuff here, man. But coming down with 1 basic attack. Kenny's still holding on to the end of the game here, but it's not going to matter. Kenny is going to call it. There is the GG dropping right now. What are your thoughts on that game as a whole, and actually just the entire set of the grand finals going towards Derpy Derp now?
I mean, I would even make it more general. Not only the last game, the set, but even the whole tournament. We saw super fast games, super aggressive gameplays. Most of the games going 5 minutes. We saw 7 minutes. The grand finals was, the fastest, the longest game, 9 minutes. It was everything was so fast from all the players. The meta right now is super aggressive. It's really awkward that we saw that no one brought control to the tournament, and no one would even close to be able to do a control-y game.
Yeah, it's been insane just with the recent drops of the new cards. A little bit of balancing will help, but right now the games have been extremely fast as everyone is bringing aggro. Maybe we'll see some changes in the future, most definitely. But good games to everyone. Good games to, especially to the top 3. We have Derpy Derp going first, taking home the money. Kenneth taking home a little bit less money, and the least, third placed here is going to go towards a Hell. A Hell finally, and honestly, one of my top favorites here is a Hell finally making it all the way to finals, and I'm just glad to see that he was able to make it out. Kenny as well, able to make it to the grand finals, and Derpy Derp, you know, came into the tournaments fairly late, but honestly, to make it all the way and finally win all the way in the grand finals, much to him, man. Honestly, now he's going to be on my roster on my fantasy team. But guys, anything else for you, Deathwalker?
No, guys, if you want to find me over on Twitter at Deadwalker7000 or on YouTube also, I'm uploading lots of Hand of the Gods, guides and more stuff for you guys to learn about the games and the mechanics. Be sure to check out my YouTube. What about you, Nuka?
Truly fantastic stuff. Please go drop by that YouTube channel. It's fantastic, guys. And guys, if you are looking for really just general gameplay, I play a lot of Smite, a lot of the high-res games. I just play every single high-res game. I stream every single day, 7 to 11 EST. So please drop by. There's an amazing community. We're all kind, very positive community. So much love to all of them. I know they're out there. So guys, thank you again. This has been, what, the 13th tournament that we've done? But
I believe this one is the
14th?
14th.
Yeah. Jeez,
Yeah.
I lose count. But guys, thank you again. We'll be doing this every single week. If you guys would like to join, Deathwalker, tell them how.
Yeah, you can always just see in the forums. Harris Adonis is posting links. You can also join the community Discord that you can find in the Reddit page of Hands of the Gods, and we're posting whenever the tournaments are. They're basically always at the same time. That is Saturday 11 EST if you want to join.
And I believe we had a lot of newcomers out this week. We had Bloody Saul, David PS, Bob 12, the real DJ ABK, and Havoc. Guys, thank you guys for coming out.
Also,
yeah.
one important thing I want to mention, to be able to play in this tournament, it is totally free to entry, and you can grab some good money, right? $100 for first place, $60 for second place, and $40 for the third place.
Yeah, and again, congratulations to everyone, guys, and thank you for coming out once again. It really does mean a lot for us, and we'll see you guys later. Thank you very much.